power102fm.com. Sexplosion is on Power 102 and now on new days and at new times. The country's most informative sex education program, Sexplosion, is on every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 9 p.m. to midnight with Dr. Raj, the guru of sex in the Caribbean.
A lot of times we think that sex is totally below the waist. It is not below the waist. It starts in the brain. The largest sex organ that you possess is your brain.
Tune in for discussion on all sexual matters. Sexplosion on Power 102, empowering you.
Thank you for staying here with us on Power 2.1 FM on a very special nighttime. Greetings to you, special thanks as always to 9 miles international. Well, bringing our time, it's now 8 minutes after 9 o'clock, and we do welcome you to Sexplosion on Power 102 FM with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located or it's in Augustine, and there he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. On a very special nighttime, greetings to you, my family.
Pleasant good evening to you. Pleasant good evening to all those who are on Facebook, Instagram, watching us on the app.
Yeah.
And of course, those who are tuning to us through www.power102fm.com or however else you're listening to the program.
Well, yes.
I know there's some persons who will ask somebody to put on the program through their app and also do it through Skype, and there are so many different things that they do to listen to this program.
A lot of different things, huh?
Different things, and there's a variety in the way you do things.
Well, there's always a variety.
And sex, there's always variety in sex, huh?
Oh, well, yeah.
Sex and relationship.
Especially with the amount of positions that you have mentioned to me the last 14, 15 years.
Well, I sometimes lose count of it.
You do?
But today was an interesting day at the clinic, and you know, sometimes you have a clinic day that's just ordinary people come in, they come for treatment, they tell you of their problems. Some of them are return clients, some of them are new clients, so you may have like about 3 new clients and about 10 returning clients, and some of them there for their injections or whatever. And it's just an ordinary day. But today was a fascinating day. A really fascinating day.
Okay, when you mention fascinating.
The clients that I saw today, they were there for different reasons, and it all tied in one after the other. It was just amazing. It was amazing because you had persons coming in to join the Swingers Club. So they were talking about relationship from one angle. You had a person who came in and talked about the use of devices to have a sexual relationship without getting involved with a person. You have another person who came in and were doing a research to do a paper on polygamy and sexual behaviors among adults and people who have extramarital affairs and whatnot. But the amazing thing about it, there was about 5 different sets of individuals, or 5 different individuals who were all talking about something that one ties in with the other. And I just sat there in amazement, and I was like, Raj, you realize that the person who was here before was talking about something that ties in with what this person is talking about now, and they don't know one another, they never met one another, they're here to talk about 2 different things, but when it comes to sex, sexuality, and behavior, you realize that it all ties into human behavior. And he or she did not know what the persons who were there before, or the person who was there before, was talking about. And here you are just expanding on what was spoken about before.
Yeah.
And you get in a sense that everything that happened today was gelling one after the other. And that to me was mind-blowing, because you very rarely come across a day like today. There was a young lady who I knew when she was a little child,
Yeah.
and I remember the first day I saw her. It was under unusual circumstances that I saw her. I was invited to go somewhere with one of my cousins, a place that I a few times he invited me, but I never went. And I decided to go on that particular day, which was about 10, 12 years ago. And I remember this individual doing something. She was making chow in a school.
Yeah.
And I remember that. And I remember having a conversation with her and another girl, because my cousin was doing whatever he had to do at the school. And I just asked their names and whatnot, but her name stuck in my mind. And years after, this person, 10 years after, is coming to my office to do an interview with me. And I'm reminded her of that. I said, "You remember so-and-so?" She said, "Yes, I always remember you coming there. And, I always kept in touch with whatever you were doing." Now, when I saw her, she was about 10 years old. Now she's 20-something years old. And it was just amazing that this person is here interviewing me now about something that she's doing to do her thesis. And we're discussing sex and sexual behavior and relationship and whatnot. And her open-mindedness towards it was kind of hampered by the way she was brought up and the things that she was conditioned to think about.
Yeah.
And one of one of the things that I told her is that in order for you to be successful at what you're doing, in order for you to write the proper paper, you have to put all those beliefs and all those things that you were taught aside and go into this with a very open mind. And we spoke for about 3 hours, intermittently, because sometimes she had to leave the office and there were others who came in and she came back and, like that. And she said, I realize what you're telling me, because I answered some of her questions by getting into her life and extrapolating what she's doing with what's happening and what happens with people on the outside. And at the end of it, I was telling her, I said, everything that I told you is the truth. And these are things that I have experienced. And I'm a very practical person when it comes to sex, and when it comes to behavior, and when it comes to relationship and whatnot. I say, it's not only what my clients tell me, but it's also what I go through in life. I use that as a way and a means of understanding others. But I don't let it cloud my judgment. I say, and that's very difficult, because she said, well, I realize you're a religious person because I look at what you do and I listen to what you say. I say, well, spiritual, more like it. And how does that affect behavior? And people always ask me that question, because when they find me in the realm of spirituality, they're blown away by the fact that here you have someone who's dealing with sex in a spiritual realm.
I would think so as well.
And it's confusing to them, but it's not to me, because I understand the duality between sexuality and spirituality. And very few persons understand that. Very few persons will see sexuality as something being spiritual. And that comes back to the one thing that I always say, and I will continue to say it, and I think it might be on my epitaph later on at the end of my life, that there's only 2 things that create God and sex. So sex has to be godly and God has to be sex. And if you tie that in and understand that, yes, there's a holiness, and yes, there's a certain reverence when it comes to the understanding of God and whatnot. But if you embrace God as a sexual being, you will become much closer to him or her.
Yeah.
Now, that's very difficult to digest.
Very.
It's extremely difficult to digest because some person will tell you, well, how could you equate sex with God? But how could you not equate sex with God? That's my question. How could you not equate sex with God? You want to tell me that, okay, let's in a broad sense, I don't want to talk about any particular religion and I don't want to talk about any particular doctrine, but if we are made in the image of God, why it is we like sex? And God is supposed to be holy and divorced of sex. But we are made in the image of God. Why it is we like sex, we enjoy sex, we want to do different things sexually, we have sexual behavior, sexuality and sexual behavior conditions us. We don't condition sexual behavior, no. Sexual behavior conditions us.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because when someone is pregnant and they have a child, the first thing they say, I hope God gave it 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Mm-hmm.
So which means that there have to be some relationship there.
Well, not before that, conception.
Yeah.
For those who are spiritually minded or those who are, they'll tell you, well, don't drink alcohol, don't do certain things, pray for a healthy child, but reverence to God and whatever. Aren't you accepting the fact that whatever you're doing is holy?
Well, yes.
Well, right. And I always go back to the fact that, my daughter, when my wife was pregnant with my daughter, the Bishop of Grenada blessed, the Archbishop of Grenada blessed my wife and blessed the womb. And, I mean, that's because of the connection I had with Catholicism and Christianity and whatnot. That's why I don't condemn. People may see me post certain things or ask certain questions, but it's not for condemnation, it's to get people to think. Because even when you talk about sexuality and sexual behavior and God, or godliness or spirituality or holiness, sometimes people will say, well, he's a madman. But I just want you to think, that's all. And if at the end of your thinking you think that whatever I'm saying is wrong, well, by all means I'm wrong to you.
Yeah.
But if after the end of whatever I have asked you to think about, you come to the realization, but wait a minute, there is a spirituality to sex. There is something about God and sex. So maybe he's not wrong. But people take it in the wrong way because the minute you mention Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, or whatever, people think it's about religion.
Yes, they will. Yeah.
Because that's how we are conditioned to think.
I would think so, basically.
Right, but I don't. Because when you ask the question about belief, and you ask the question about spirituality, and you ask the question about your sexual behavior, like one young lady had to tell me, she said, I don't go to religious thing anymore because I'm involved in sex. And I said, so what's wrong? She said, well, I don't feel comfortable going. I said, what's wrong? Well, look at the kind of things that is be doing. I said, and what's wrong? Let's touch on what we know. The majority of people know the story of Mary.
Right.
And Mary Magdalena.
Right.
What was Mary Magdalena?
God's Jesus.
Not Mother Mary.
Oh, no.
The one who followed Jesus Christ, the prostitute. Wasn't she involved in something that was sexual?
Well, she was sexually active.
No, but was she involved in something that was sexual that we consider to be illegal or immoral, but yet still she was a devotee of God? Did he condemn her or did he cast her aside and say, you cannot pray to me because of what you do?
No.
But yet still we label individuals and say, you can't be like this because of what you do.
Yes. I could agree with you on that here.
Well, right. But the actions that you take or the things that you want to do sexually should not define you totally. Because the sum of, if you take the parts of an individual, it should not equate to the individual. it must be greater than the individual. And that's what I strive to do. That at the end of the day, when that time comes and people look at the parts of you, all the different parts of you, they say, boy, this will take, if you take this, it will make 2 men. If you take this, it will make a man and a half. But it will not equate to 1 man.
Right, Tanya, very interesting. Anyway, folks, taking over time, it's now 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. Inside Sexplosion on this Friday evening with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located out at St. Augustine. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast. In today's fast-paced world, access to accurate, up-to-date information 24/7 is essential to making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime,
What's that?
business,
Entertainment,
technology, and special
Well, I say that you hear about my ears.
Izzo, your information source, designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices, and visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo, news travels fast. All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM with the best music and personalities to power your day, all day on a Saturday. Sir Charles, Bass, DJ Maggie, Gaylan, and the ultimate DJ Shane. All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM. The power of music. All-inclusive Saturdays from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. all day on a Saturday on Power 102, empowering you. Start your day in the know. Turn on to the Power Breakfast Show every weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on Power 102.
Good morning, Steve, morning, Rhoda, morning, Trinidad and Tobago. We were wondering the same thing, Zena. What kind of investigation is taking place prior to an invitation being sent out?
Get updated with the Power Breakfast team.
Of course, it's Mr. Mariano Brown. What would you do for the people in a budget in an election?
I think the best thing that anybody could do in Trinidad is make the money we spend work. If your bucket is leaking, are you carrying water?
Richard Rockenbauer's 8, Wendell Stewart, Rhoda Bart, and myself, Steve Kahn.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Power 102, empowering you.
Well, just to remind you that you are on the inside of Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM, and here is where we give you the opportunity for those of you who would like to have a conversation with Dr. Raj. He's in studio. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. May I remind you that this program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are there for advice. Yep.
So when the question was put to me by the young lady about lust and the development of lust, or if a relationship outside of your marriage could turn into love, I say sometimes it starts off with love, and sometimes it starts off with lust, sometimes it starts off with sex, but it could develop into love. So when we talk about spirituality and touching on the basis of sex also, you know, it's like sometimes I always like to quote Gandhi, and I like to read the works of Gandhi, and I think that some of the things he said was so profound, and some people, they use it to this day and they don't even realize where it came from. Like when he said, you know, I love your Christ, but I do not like your Christians because they're not Christ-like. That's a profound statement. But he was talking about spirituality at a different level. The same time I remember that situation I had with customs, where the guy brought up the thing and he talked about time immemorial, and I stopped him and asked him, I said, are you a Sanatanist Hindu? And he looked at me and he said, what do you mean? I said, well, only Sanatanist Hindu talks about time immemorial. the beginning of time, because we know what the beginning of time was. When scientists talk about the Big Bang Theory and the explosion and the atom and from dark matter came light and whatnot, we know what that is. We understand the concept of that. That's why I tell my Hindu brothers and sisters, please read the philosophy of Hinduism and Sanatan Dharma as opposed to studying the rituals of Sanatan Dharma. Because the rituals of Sanatan Dharma it get confused through time because of where time, place, and consequences make people do things differently. And they add things and they extract things, and that has to do with the rituals. But when you're talking about studying the philosophy, that's something totally different. So when you come to the beginning of time or the beginning of mankind, and you talk about sex and sexual act, don't think that anything that we do now is new in sex. Anything you think feelings came about recently and people only know about having feelings for two persons at the same time and whatever else recently, that has been there ever since the dawn of mankind. However long you wanted to think it is, if it's 5,000 years, 10,000 years, 1,000,000 years, 2,000,000 years, however long you think it is. But it has always been there. So the behaviors that we practice or the things that we incorporate in our lives has always been a part of who we are. It's just the acceptance by society.
Okay, we have a call on the line. We're going to continue this. Very interesting. Thank you for holding and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. What place? My clinic? Oh, very easy. You just come down on the bus route. You drop off on the third exit to UE, which is the UE Spec. You just tell the bus driver you want to drop off at UE Spec. How you know when you have reached UE Spec exit? There's a bus shed there, and it's just after you pass the gas station on the bus route that you can enter from the bus route. When you drop off there, you walk down behind the bus shed. There's a road there. You walk down that road, and the first road on your right hand side is Kamodi Street, the fourth building on your left. But if you take if you take the number for the office, they will guide you. 645 9829
645
9829 or 645 4543.
4543.
When you call, they'll give you all that information.
Nice, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks a lot for calling. Yeah.
Now that kind of break my train of thought, but you see, sometimes when you're talking about something as profound as that, you want to let it flow.
Yeah.
And sometimes a call like that takes it away because this is just to get direction. That's why I don't give direction. He's lucky I gave the directions. I don't do those things. I don't answer questions like what do you sell or what's the price of something. I don't. Because it takes away from your train of thought. And my thing that when I'm dealing with a client, for example, I have to find a solution for that client. Not somebody asks me, well, what is the price of so and so? I'm like, what? You calling me to ask me that?
It takes you out of your room.
Right? So getting back to what I was saying, in that spiritual realm, and we have that within us, but there's a need to satisfy certain things that we were sent here to do. And we talk about the soul, we talk about the vessel of the soul, which is our body. We talk about the Atma, which is the soul. And we talk about the fulfillment of certain things and why we want it fulfilled. Because those are the experiences we want in life. Sometimes I have seen persons who have been in what you call a perfect state of affair with their husband or their wife, and yet still have an extramarital affair. I have seen that on numerous occasions. You think I am in any position to judge what they're doing? Absolutely not. The judgment don't come from me, and there's no judge. I don't think there's any judgment of that. I think a person's behavior, the things that they want to do, how they go about doing it and whatnot, is entirely up to them, and they must be able to face the consequences of their actions. However they think those consequences are. If you think what you're doing is a sin and you go to hell, then that is the consequences that you will have to face. If you think that whatever you're doing is natural to you you're not harming anyone, you are enjoying the things that you want to enjoy, you have not done anything wrong. Because who knows? Who really knows what happens after you die? There are books that give you guidance and they tell you, well, this is what would be looked at and all these different things. Yes. But how do you know if that is the gospel truth? The only truth you know is that I am alive and I want to do certain things. I want to experience certain things. I want to behave in a particular way. I want to enjoy sex. What's wrong with that? Why would you come and condemn my behavior when you may want to do the very same thing but you don't have the testicular fortitude to do it? So when somebody is as open as I am, talking about things in a very pragmatic way, very open, non-judgmental, people think that I am crazy. And I don't care what people think. Because at the end of the day, I know my role in life. I know what I have to fulfill. I know how far I am going to go with whatever I have to do. And I am the best judge of me and my character than anyone else. And I fall asleep very easily at night. I don't have a guilty conscience when it comes to whatever I do. But there are lots of persons who play holier than thou, and they have a guilty conscience.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of people like that.
I know it.
They show you one.
They show you what they want you to see because they want you to think good of them, and they want you to think that this is a perfect human being. No human being is perfect. That's why even the person who is spiritually advanced, he or she may not be perfect. Because there's no such thing as perfection in human being. We all have our flaws. But am I going to be judged by my flaws or by what I do? The good that I do. And if you want to judge me by my flaws, fine.
Yeah.
Fine. But expect that you will be judged by the very same thing. Expect that you will be judged by the very same thing. But we think that when we say something bad about somebody, we think that's why I don't engage in gossip and whatnot. I don't like those things. If you come to me to gossip about somebody, I will just say, Junior, I'm really not interested, I don't care what that person does,
You don't, so in other words, what you're saying, you don't care for other people's business.
No.
Especially if it's negative.
Especially if it's negative. And if you come to tell me something negative about somebody who I love and somebody who I care for, my friend, my family, my loved one, somebody who I respect and whatnot, I'll put you in your place one time, I'll tell you, here what? That person's my friend. I don't want to hear you say anything negative because you'll see the wrong side of me, which is true. You will see the wrong side of me. I'll insult you in the worst possible way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's the very same thing because I always believe that you have to defend. If you have a certain amount of respect for someone, you defend that because that's how you see the person. And if somebody want to malign that person, you don't encourage it because the minute you listen to that, you're encouraging it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't want you to say anything bad about Junior because Junior is my friend, he's my co-host. Hear what? Keep that to yourself or go and tell somebody else. I don't want to know. Right? Well, Junior used to have a ponytail. So what? How does that affect Junior and the way he does his work? Well, he was a hippie once. So what? You understand?
Yes, yes.
Junior used to work in a store. So what? I used to work in a store. So what are you judging on? His economic circumstances? And this is what people do. They judge you on so many different levels that they don't realize that they are judging themselves.
Yeah.
They don't realize that. So when it comes to sex, now, think about all these things I'm talking about. And let's come back to sex. We're talking about sex and sexuality. They say she's so-and-so. She like plenty man. Look at how much man she have. Now, she might have plenty male friends, but may not be having sex with all the male friends that she have. She may be having sex with one of the guys, and you don't even know who it is. But because you want to be her friend, and because you want to have sex with her, you're going to label her as certain things because that's what you want. And you're hoping that this person gives me the time of the day. That's what you're hoping for. And when you can't get it, it's like the fox not getting the grapes and you're saying it's sour.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing. Because many times we talk ill of someone because we cannot even get into their friendship circle.
Yeah, the majority of the times.
Oh, you know, he just has some big parties and things, but he's a con man, you know, he's a scam. Because you can't get invited. Oh, he just only have them fets for your partners and things, your big shot partners and things, you know. You want to be a big shot partner. You want to be that, but you cannot be because the person doesn't give you the time of the day.
They don't want you to get into that circle.
Not they don't want you, you doesn't exist in their mind. When they see you, they might talk to you and say, hey, Junior, how you going and whatnot, but when they have their get together and gathering, Junior is not part of that because you don't exist in that realm. So, when it comes to sexual behavior, it's the same thing. I dare the men out there to tell me you have not thought about having sex with someone other than your wife. You have never looked at a woman and said, wow, she's looking real good. I wonder what she like in bed. I dare men out there to tell me I have never had those thoughts in my mind. And I will tell you the majority of the men out there, 99.9% of the men out there cannot say that with a straight face. Or say it and go home and go to bed knowing it is the truth.
Yeah.
But when I come out and say, well, she's looking good, I will love to see her naked. I'm just thinking out and saying what you are thinking. That's all. But I am brave enough to say it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Well, I wouldn't say it in a way to be insultive towards the woman because I don't ever do that. Even if a woman have on scanty clothes and whatever, I would make a comment to make she feel bad. I don't do that. Because that's her choice.
You go on a positive compliment.
No, sometimes I will not make a comment.
Where they would notice.
Simply because I don't want the person to even know that I acknowledge them.
No.
I just admire whatever it is and I leave it at that because you don't need to know I acknowledge you.
No, well, you keep your own thoughts for yourself.
Right. But many of us don't do that. Many of us will suit a woman and tell her things. Well, you know, I like how you're walking. I like how you're shaking that thing. Yes, you like it, but you don't have to tell her in a disparaging way.
As a matter of fact, by doing that, that's more or less like a turn off. Even if you were thinking in terms of getting with that person, by just mentioning the way you suit and the way you call, that could be a turn off to her.
Exactly. But when you take it another step into the sexual realm, think about all the things that you would like to do or you have thought about doing. Think about those things and tell me if some of those thoughts or feelings that you have gotten does not border on illegality or sin. Whatever word you want to use. Or adharmic. Tell me. And if you could answer me and tell me, I have never had those thoughts. And I have never gone down that road. And I have never in my life looked at another woman or another man. I would say, well, you have reached the level of spirituality that very few has achieved.
Oh, yeah.
Very few. Because even the good Lord here in all its form has succumbed to temptation.
Yeah.
In one way or the other.
Anyway, folks, taking over time, it's now 21 minutes before 10 o'clock. You are on the inside of Sexplosion on Power 102.1 FM, and it's all about giving our listeners what they want and expect from a good radio program when it comes to sex education, exclusively on your number one all-round station, Power 102 FM, a station that's reliable and effective. Sexplosion with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Don't forget our lines are open if you would love to interact with him via the telephone. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you're a bit shy to hear your voice on radio, you can always do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. Now remind you that this program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance advised. You are listening to a program that deals with sex, love, and relationships.
For all those who are sending their thumbs up and hearts on Facebook, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I think it's going to help when Prashant has to do his stuff with Facebook. But, you know, with the advent of social media, I am sure there are persons who go through Facebook and they'll see a beautiful woman and say, wow, she's sexy, boy. And then they'll look at her pictures and they'll look at something in a compromising position and say, the buttocks looking nice, but the breasts looking good. That's the same thing. But are they willing to admit it? There are women who will look at a guy and say, he looks looking like he could suck, boy. He look like he could. You know, they'll make those comments. They may make the comments to themselves, but the fact is that you have recognized and you have looked at and you have seen that with smartphones and whatnot, smart devices. You could watch porn. And I think the percentage of people who have seen porn now is far greater than it has ever been in history. Long ago, it was very cumbersome and difficult to watch porn. You have to put up a sheet and you have to have a Super 8 camera and you have to have a Super 8 projector and you can't hide that under the bed, you can't hide that in a drawer, you have to have a big box to hide that.
True, right.
Now you could have porn on this
Yeah.
and you could hide it very easily. So the persons who want to look at porn, they would be looking at porn. And don't tell me you're looking at porn and you don't admire the size of the man's penis or the woman's breast or the vagina and the position that they're in and the two women kissing or two men having sex together or a threesome. Don't tell me you don't admire those things and like it. Then why are you looking at it? That's why when sometimes some person tells me they look at porn, I say, well, what kind of porn do you look at? There's a reason I ask that question, you know.
What is it?
Because the reason for that is what stimulates your mind.
Okay.
Porn stimulates you, but ordinary porn will stimulate the ordinary individual. Extreme porn will stimulate the extreme individuals. So it tells you something about the person and what the person will be willing to do, the encounters that that person will have or will not have. There are so many things, even on social media, people post certain things and whatnot. Certain things people will put up on social media, and I could tell their sexuality and sexual behavior. People give away things, you know.
Oh, so
I am in all social circles, social media circles. For example, I'm on Tinder. And somebody will ask me, well, what are you doing here? I say, well, I know what the reason I'm here, doing research and whatnot. What are you doing here? And then they'll tell you what they're looking for, if they're looking for a sugar daddy, if they're looking to have sex for money, if they're looking for somebody to pay a bill for them. They tell you because they trust me when they find out who it is. I look at Facebook and I see people post up certain things or somebody will tag something and whatnot. And when you go into their profile and you read certain things, people sell themselves out, you know, and they don't even know it. And I wouldn't say what it is because there are certain things that people put up that you will not believe how much it sells themselves out. Social media is the biggest horning instrument it have in this world.
the biggest you're mentioning or no? The biggest you're mentioning?
Biggest horning instrument in this world.
And
Look at
what you basing this on?
facts. Facts. It happens to me every day. That's the fact that I could tell you about. People horn via social media, messenger service, WhatsApp, Facebook, Tinder, Viber. It's the largest means of having an extramarital affair. And it starts off simply with what the person posts up, what they will show, who are their friends, what they're interested in. And some people put coded messages out there without even knowing that they put in coded messages. Some people like selfie, but if you look at the selfie and you look deeper at the selfie, you will realize what the person is actually showing, and they don't even know what they're showing. You do things consciously based on your subconscious mind, you know. There are persons out there who will sit, like myself, and examine certain individuals on social media and know their characteristics and know what they would and would not do, you know. And I have proven it 1,000 times over. I could send you one message coded for me to understand. And your response will tell me how far you will go. It's that easy. But the messages have to be coded for you to understand what is being asked and how it's being asked.
Yes, but apart from that, you have to be well trained to do something like that.
It is not only being well trained, it is also being able to understand human nature and behavior.
But would it be fair to say, due to, as a sexologist, you would have looked at it in a particular way where the ordinary person wouldn't look at it that way?
That's one of the things, that's my training, but it's also understanding human behavior, society, sociology, the need for one to feel, okay, there are individuals who will post up certain things about themselves and make comments about themselves. If you read the comments and it's consistent over, let's say, 10 or 12 selfies that they put up, you know what issues they have with self-esteem and whatnot. You realize that they are starving for attention. They want attention. They want persons to recognize that they are in a certain sphere. There are persons who will talk about politics and they knows nothing about politics. There are persons who talks about things of a sexual nature, but they're not engaging in it. So if you don't engage in something, you don't have the experience of it. And if you don't have the experience of it, you do not know how you're going to behave when it comes to that. And that's another thing, that's the challenge where it lies. You can't tell me you know how you're going to feel having two persons make love to you when you have never done that. The feelings that you think that you're going to feel is in your head, it's in your mind. When you actually do it, it's a difference. Because then you are actually involved in it.
Yeah, okay.
It's like when people make, okay, let's take for example, and I know you wanted to bring this up earlier, I'm going to bring it up for you. TKR. You know when persons condemn TKR this morning, but you cannot be a fan of something and condemn it in the strongest possible way and give up on your team. I'm a TKR fan regardless of where they reach or whatever. My captain is Bravo Pollard. Whoever is the captain or whoever is made captain, that's the captain of the team. And his or her decision, I'll stand by it.
So basically,
if I follow, let me continue. If I follow the Indian cricket team,
yeah,
which I do, because I love the Indian cricket team, and I make no apologies for that. Everybody who know me as a child know I always follow the Indian cricket team, right? Even more so than the West Indies cricket team. I enjoy their exploits. I enjoy their exploits and I enjoy what the captain does, and I understand from that perspective. Now, this morning you see people willing to sell their tickets and whatnot. They're not true fans of cricket. They're bandwagonists. There are persons who are willing to jump on when something good is happening.
yeah.
And let me give you another example. Trinidad lost 11 matches in a row in football. How many people feel pain when they heard that? I did. Because Trinidad and Tobago is my team. Regardless. You're flying the red, white and black. I am not going to give up on the Soca Warriors because they lost 11 games in a row. Last night we lost to Honduras 2-0.
Yeah.
But it is my team. It come like you're giving up on your country simply because your country, okay, there are persons who are willing to abandon ship because things hard in Trinidad. Then you're not a true patriot. And those who have abandoned ship, and I'm very adamant about that. If you don't pay taxes here, and you don't contribute to this society, do not make a comment about here. You have no right.
Yeah.
I put you in your place. What the hell you know about here? Why are you making a comment about crime in Trinidad? Why you don't see about wherever you are? You have abandoned here and gone somewhere else. Concern yourself with what's happening where you are, not with what's happening here. And don't tell me, well, I have family here. If you had family here and you care about your family here, you'll be here. And I'm very adamant about those things.
Right, yeah.
I pay tax here. And when I hear somebody bad talking Trinidad, I put them in a place. I say, Trinidad bad? What about Trinidad bad? I say, I only see the nice in Trinidad. Well, what about crime? I say, what about it? Did I have crime elsewhere? They don't have crime elsewhere.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now 10 minutes before 10 o'clock. Sexplosion on this Friday evening with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Reggae Ride each and every Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. on Power 102. The Reggae Ride with the Empress, Kaylan, and the ultimate DJ Shane.
And good music.
Join us for some soothing reggae music on a Saturday.
Great reggae music.
The Reggae Ride.
Good. Handling things.
From the old to the new, we play only the
Like I
best.
always say, it doesn't matter how old, once you lose
Well, you know about
The
that.
Reggae Ride, Saturdays from 6 to 10
Remember him and I were very close.
Power
Eh?
102, empowering you. Every Wednesday from 2 p.m. on Power 102, we face the issues with journalist Tony Fraser.
Good afternoon to you.
Facing the issues.
And so today I want to start today's program by reflecting on music of the 1940s and 50s. In the studio we have Pelham Goddard and Michael Guzman.
Talking all the news and current affairs.
What are some of the things that you want to place on the agenda of politicians and political parties?
We're all trying to tackle the same issues of discrimination, harassment, violence that is done against our community.
Tune on to the discussions from 2 p.m. every Wednesday with Tony Fraser. Facing the issues on Power 102. Empowering you.
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast. In today's fast-paced world, access to accurate, up-to-date information 24/7 is essential to making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime, business, sport, entertainment, technology, and special investigative features. Izzo, IZZSO. Izzo, your information source, designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices and visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo. News travels fast.
Well, I can tell you that nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education every Thursday and Friday evenings right here on Power 102 FM station that's reliable and effective. Sexplosion with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Well, don't forget our lines are open. If you would love to chat with Dr. Raj, feel free. All you've got to do is give us a call at 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you want to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. You can also send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM. Yep.
So I'm passionate about certain things. I'm passionate about my country. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm passionate about education. I'm passionate about sex. I'm passionate about being a sex educator. I strongly believe in what I do. I don't make any apologies for it, and I am happy doing what I do, and I will always be like that. And one of the things I'm very passionate about is agriculture.
Agriculture?
I've always been a passionate
I never
about
thought
agriculture.
of me as a sexologist.
I know.
I never put that.
I know
But
a lot of
then
but I'm passionate about spirituality also. So when people see me in temple or they see me in church or they see me doing certain things, they're like, "What do you know about this?" I'm like, "What do you
Because
know
see,
about it?"
that is a way of how the human mind thinks, especially those of you who know that you is a sexologist. How come here? You're not supposed to be here.
Exactly. You don't belong here.
No.
So I am passionate about certain areas in agriculture because I came from an agrarian society. I came from India. My forefathers came from India. So we are agrarian. We do farming. We came here for farming. Nothing else. Is that we eventually branch off to other things because we could adapt to any situation. Human beings could adapt to any situation and any place. If you drop a human being on Mars, one day there'll be a civilization on Mars. Because we could do that. So recently, just last week, there was something called the World Chocolate Day. And it was advertised on this radio station, and I wonder how many people went to it. And those who did go to it, you'll realize that it was one of the most fantastic things that you could have ever gone to.
World Chocolate Day.
Yeah. Right at the Hyatt Hotel, $20 to go in and see all these wonderful things and delicious things that we make in Trinidad based on the chocolate and cocoa that we produce in this country.
Well, I know he's number one when it comes to...
Well, people keep saying that, but what do they really know?
Yeah. What proof they have?
People keep saying that, but what do they really know? Have you ever eaten a chocolate bar made in Trinidad? And the majority of people will tell you no. Because they will tell you they'll go and buy the brands that they see from overseas.
Well, yeah.
But I'm a chocolate connoisseur and I buy chocolate all over the world. That's the first thing I buy in any country that I go to.
Chocolate?
Chocolates. Dark chocolate. And I will tell you something, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. I came across some chocolates that are locally made. One by a young woman in Belmont. The other by a young lady, I think she's in Diego Martin. I don't want to be mistaken. Or somewhere in the West. And it's the most delicious chocolate I've ever eaten. So much so, I bought chocolates and I took it home. And I don't want foreign chocolates. I want that. But there is an equation between chocolate and sex. There's a formula created by the Aztecs when it comes to chocolate and sex. How many people know that? There are persons who subconsciously wish their boyfriend, when they come in to visit them, bring chocolate. But we equate chocolate with only Valentine's. But chocolate could also be used for sex. The same way that you want to lick something off a person, and Trinidad chocolate, again, being the best quality that you can get. When you lick that off a vagina or a nipple, it will do something to you. And it's good for your health. So, but how many persons... Again, it was advertised on this radio station. That's how I know about it. And I went to it. I wish I could have spent the entire day there. I could have only spent 3 hours. And at the end of it, after visiting all the booths and purchasing stuff and talking to people and partaking on whatever they had to give away or even to purchasing stuff, I went to one booth, which is the Cooperative Society of Rio Claro, the Chocolate Cooperative Society of Rio Claro, cocoa and coffee. They were blown away when it's Dr. Raj, take out a picture with me, do this. But I didn't go there because I was Dr. Raj. I go there because of my love for agriculture and what I like about it and what I want to do. But again, I know how you could tie in chocolate with sex. And there is a match between chocolate and sex. But again, there are persons who are producing chocolate and don't want to hear anything about sex.
Well, yeah.
Because of their upbringing. But they don't know. Again, if you realize that they use sex to sell every single thing in this world. From gasoline to pitch, they use sex to sell. A sexy woman in a nice outfit, looking good. Man selling tire. There are 2 women stand up in a corner.
Car wash.
Car wash. There are women doing the car wash. Food. There are a nice sexy woman eating. You ever see any overweight, obzucky looking woman eating food and advertising food?
No, they don't have them at all. No. It always
so I always wonder, the guys who are overweight and the women who are overweight, what motivates you to buy the food? Because the persons who are buying the food don't look like you.
No.
Sexiness sells.
No, I never see, especially when you're advertising.
Those are food for thought. I say those things not to condemn anyone, and this again, people get tied up in what I say. I say those things to get you thinking. Thinking about what I am saying. Is there truth to what I'm saying? And again, I throw out the challenge: if you ever prove me to be wrong or falsifying anything, tell me and I come off the air voluntarily.
Well, I can tell you that more now than ever, we are simply putting the fun into sex education exclusively on your number one all-around station, Power 102 FM, with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj Ramanan, our Total Imaging, the Adult Therapy Center. Just to remind you once again that our lines are open. If you would love chatting with Dr. Raj, feel free, 222-8255, 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a message on his WhatsApp or his B-Mobile, as a matter of fact, you can also do that, 740-1961. Just to remind you again, due to the mature subject of this program, parental guidance are therefore advised. Yeah.
And you know the amazing thing about it, I have friends who are involved in agriculture and cocoa production and they did not go. And when you ask them why, they can't give you an answer.
I was hanging on the other thought. Maybe the possibility did exist that they didn't know about it.
Well, one did not know about it, and I told him about it. And the other person just didn't care.
Sure.
But how could you be involved in something and not care?
No, I can't see it.
It's like, you know, when I hear about an exposition somewhere in the world concerning sex, I go. Because that's my passion. When I hear a lecture on something dealing with sex, sexuality, sexual behavior and all those things, I go. Because it's my passion.
Well, apart from that, it deals with your profession.
Yeah. And it helps for my betterment.
Yeah. You always learn something.
Always. So when I hear somebody saying, well, I wasn't really interested in going to that, and let me just address this young woman here, Sharian Narayan Singh. If you want to see what Junior looks like, go on the app. Just take a look. She says she hearing your voice and she's not seeing what you look like.
She not seeing.
Go on the app. I can't turn the camera to show Junior right now because of the way it's set up. But
no,
I can't move it.
No, I said no.
Yeah. But if you want to see him, just go on the app and wave to the app camera.
I would like to see what I wanted to be on.
Yeah, we on. Why we wouldn't be on?
You know, sometimes, you know, they're resetting.
Where if it is a foul, set it.
Yeah, so as you were saying.
Yeah. So, why be passionate about something and not be involved in that at all levels?
Yeah.
So, when you're closed-minded and you're dealing with sex, I see people making comments about things that are sexual, something that would happen in society worldwide and locally, and they'll be making some comments and you're like, and this person want to project themselves as being open-minded? This person want to project themselves as being understanding? I see a person who is supposed to be versed in a certain way.
Yeah.
That has to do with calmness of mind and body and whatnot, making a comment about kill them because of something that perceived by the individual that they're doing. Kill them all. And this is somebody who is a teacher and supposed to be calm and collective because what he teaches are discipline to be calm and collective, but saying kill them all. So what's your true nature? Is your true nature your profession where you're supposed to be calm and collective and dealing with things in a different level, maybe in a spiritual plane, or the fact that you have blurted out kill them all? I think the kill them all is your true nature.
Yes.
Don't tell me you're saying that to pander to other people, because you must have independence of thought and independence of behavior. When I react to something, I don't apologize to how I react and whatnot. That is me.
Yeah. You being yourself.
That's me being myself. When I throw out a question out there to make people think, and I see somebody make a disparaging comment about me, I don't attack the comment. I still ask the question, have you addressed what I ask?
Yeah, because they want you to answer. They want to.
They want to engage you.
Yeah, and even though they engage you, it gives them the satisfaction by just engaging.
They tell themselves that when I engage you, when I engage the individual, I have brought the person down to my level, my way of thinking, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But no, that's not why I asked the question. Okay, I put out something on Facebook. And it just so happened the day that I came up with it, the next day they had this big thing that happened in Aruka. Now, where that happens is just a stone throw from me, I could walk across to that building from where I live.
Oh.
It's just, yeah, I know the place very well. I don't know what happens behind the wall because there's a huge wall, right? And I ask certain questions because I see, even on this station, I have heard persons dealing with issues, dealing with something, but they will make a comment like, well, I am so-and-so, based on religion. I don't want to repeat it because I don't want to create any controversies further than what I've done already. And I get the feeling that the person says that because they feel they're superior to others because they say that. But that takes me back to the words of Gandhi. I like your Christ, but I do not like your Christians because they're not Christ-like. Which is so true. And those very same persons who make those comments, and I even heard somebody else who's on the program where the person say, you mean they're spiritual? Because there are other religion who teaches the same thing, to be calm and collective and not judgmental. But the minute you come and you tell me I am so-and-so, or I am a good so-and-so, well, I have to tell you what the word that's come after that. I am a good so-and-so. So you are telling me that if you belong to something else, you're not good? That's what you're saying, So you are telling me that you have a superiority complex and others are inferior to you. But that's because you're brainwashed into thinking that. Because what you have adopted and what you have embraced is not your own. And you can't tell me the basis of your own because you have lost that. And Marcus Garvey have said, if you don't know where you come from, how the hell you know where you're going to?
Which makes sense.
If you don't know where you come from, how do you know where you're going to? If you don't know your true culture, if you don't know your true being, how do you know where you're heading? Based on what somebody else is directing you and say, this is the way? And you have abandoned everything that you know before? You know that there are persons who don't live in Trinidad, live outside of Trinidad, and they want to play them more Trinidadian than you and I are.
Well, no, yeah, but we always get, I think that is our mentality.
Yeah, but I just look at you and say, how could you be more Trinidadian than you or than me when you don't even live in Trinidad that you say you love?
Especially the people that go away and interact with foreign people.
There's no issue with having a love for something. But don't pretend you're better than me because you're living there and you want to be more patriotic than me. Patriotism means that I am here.
Yeah.
Not you are out there saying about here. Yeah. That is not patriotism.
No, you're not here.
It's the same thing with sex. People are judgmental of others when it comes to things of a sexual nature and their behavior because they're outside looking at what you're doing and they're judging you on that based on their biased nature. Now, if they're looking at porn, for example, the type of porn that you look at is the type of porn that will stimulate you. Isn't that so?
Well, yes.
So if you like looking at lesbian porn, you like looking at a lesbian porn. It doesn't mean you're lesbian. But why condemn persons who are lesbians? Why have bad things to say about persons who are lesbians when you enjoy looking at two women make love? So you see the hypocrisy that we have?
Because
we look at it, looking at it is encouraging it in a way because if they don't make it, there's nothing for you to look at. And if you don't look at that type of porn, you're not stimulated.
Right, yeah.
But yet still you're the person who's going to point finger and say, them lesbian and them bad.
Yeah, but what you're saying there is facts, because if you ask the
Junior,
average-
everything I say is based on
Yeah.
facts. I don't say things off the top of my head. I say things based on facts.
Because if you have two women making, you ask the average man what he enjoy, but I would say out of 10,
Nine of them will tell you they enjoy, and they will tell you, and they will condemn. They will condemn a threesome, but all of them want to get involved in a threesome.
Yeah. I mean,
But here, what they'll condemn the threesome. They'll condemn the threesome based on what they think the other will perceive them as being. If they say, "Well, I like a threesome,"
yes.
I don't mind going in an orgy, Boy, you don't have a problem being naked in front of other people, no? What's the big deal? Well, you might have a problem because you think other people are going to judge the size of your penis, or the size of your stomach, or your shape, or your vagina, or if you have too much hair on your vagina. But are orgy people are there to judge that?
No.
They're there to have sex.
Yes, but the thing about
What will
it-
turn on the individual will turn on the individual, and they will engage in it.
Yeah,
And
but-
what would not turn on another person wouldn't turn them on.
Yeah, but once you start and engage in a sexual act, no one, your partner won't look at you and say, "Hey, look, your arms skinny or your legs skinny." It's a different level altogether.
When
You
it
might- you
comes to sex and you get involved in sex and you're dealing with things of a sexual nature, especially it's the things that you like and you want to be a part of, there is no judgment there. Afterwards, you might sit down in disgust and say, "I actually made love to that woman, boy. Look, oh God, I can't see she in the morning, But at the moment, she's the most
well,
beautiful
yeah.
thing on the earth.
Yeah. That's a fact.
If
though.
you have, I'm using this in the extreme. You're getting a blowjob from a woman who has no teeth. You think tomorrow you're looking at that woman with no teeth and say she's looking pretty? But you're enjoying the blowjob at the moment?
At that particular time.
Well, right. So why be judgmental? You don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to behave in a particular situation because you have never experienced it. If you have experienced it and say, "Well, I don't like that based on my experience," that is something different. Well, how many men or how many women out there are willing to say, "I don't like that because I tried it and it's not my cup of tea"? And I'll tell you, the majority of women who tell you that they don't like anal intercourse is because they try it and their partner don't know what to do and they felt pain. Because the majority that have spoken to me about anal intercourse, and when I finish with them, they enjoy anal intercourse.
So they
Because when they get the instructions and they know what to do, they do it properly and it's no longer painful. The majority, not all. There are some women who have aversion to that and they're not going to do it. And your man wanting to have intercourse with you does not make him gay. And let me repeat that. A man wanting to have anal intercourse with you as a woman doesn't make him gay.
Okay.
It's all part of intercourse and it's all part of enjoying every aspect of the female that you have. From blowjob to anal penetration to vaginal penetration to hand job to foot job to penis between the breasts, however you want to engage in sex.
All kind of job. It makes sense. Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now very interesting program. 13 minutes after 10 o'clock, Sexplosion on Power 102 FM with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Well, we're going to take a break and we will be right back with you. Stay tuned.
The Reggae Ride, each and every Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. on Power 102. The Reggae Ride with the Empress, Gaylan, and the ultimate DJ Shane.
And good music.
Join us for some soothing reggae music on a Saturday. Reggae music. The Reggae Ride.
You're really bothering me, boy. This woman I'm starting.
But I know.
Well,
How come?
all this telling me on WhatsApp and Facebook.
Maybe she want a little fix up?
No,
No, but maybe she wants.
From 6 to 10 p.m.
Well,
on Power 102.
You wouldn't go back, but she wanted to come back.
Because when you talk about force, I thought about that.
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast.
At that
In
particular time
today's
was friendly,
fast-paced world, access to accurate,
This is 10 years down the line, you know.
information 24/7 is essential to making
10 years down the line is a
Caribbean
10-year older
is
person.
the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime, business, sport, entertainment, technology, and special
I
investigative.
saw her recently. But within the last year.
Your information
Didn't make out.
designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices. And visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo. News travels fast.
All-inclusive Saturdays on Power 102 FM with the best music and personalities to power your day. All day on a Saturday.
Your brother here?
Yeah, well, it's got to be nice.
No, but I try to be nice. That's all the family. That's all
No, but sometimes you got to say hello.
Well, I'm not Richie.
No.
No,
It's being nice.
No, I always be nice.
Sometimes you need to be nice in another way. Take one for the team.
You make me drown in a cup of tea, you know?
Grandy woman nice, boy. Grandy are the most beautiful woman in Trinidad, the sexiest woman in Trinidad.
No, they do. They do.
Well, right.
They do.
So take one for the team.
Yeah, but when you're over a certain age,
Take one for the team.
take one for the team. Well, I can tell you that when it comes to nighttime radio, we are always one step ahead with a beautiful programming. Sexplosion with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj of Total Imaging, the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine. Folks, don't forget our lines are open if you would love chatting with Dr. Raj. Anything sexual that might be bothering you and you need to get an answer, well, this is the program for it. All you've got to do is give him a call at 222-8255, 612-8255. For those of you who would love to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you can do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. You are listening to a program that deals with sex, love, and relationships exclusively on Power 102 FM, a station that's reliable and effective.
Good evening. It is the most amazing thing. A vast number of people, especially young people, seem to believe what they know or discover about sex is new, not realizing there's nothing new under the sun.
Okay, before you answer that, we got a call on the line. Let's see. Or they left us.
Actually, there's nothing new except with the dissemination of information when it comes to things of a sexual nature. Don't think that from the beginning of time, when men were, let's say they were animals, those who believe in evolution, which I don't. I mean, people evolve,
Yeah,
but I
you
don't
do.
believe evolution from ape to man. I don't believe in that. There are those, even that state, that were engaging in things of a sexual nature that people are doing now. Because the feelings was always there.
Okay, I want to go to the lines. Hello, and thank you for holding, and welcome to Sexplosion. Someone is playing games with me tonight.
Better they play game with you than with me. I think I know who.
Man, someone is playing games. Okay. Okay.
Maybe it's somebody that you were talking about.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
I don't know. You never know.
Okay, yeah. You'll never know. Anyway, folks, taking over time, 19 minutes after 10 o'clock. You're listening to the magic of sex education. Hello, and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening. Hi, hello. Hi, good evening.
At the time when my husband had me sexually finished him, I lived him and that's it.
Well, he's a premature ejaculator.
What's that mean?
Means he breaks quickly and you're left wanting.
So what kind of that could we do?
How old is he?
Oh, like you come in the room, boy.
How old is he?
She went off.
Oh, she got?
Yeah.
Well, You could send him to the adult therapy center to learn how to control your PC muscle and last longer. My darling cousin, how are you? And I have to say a thank you to all those who reached out to me in our time of bereavement. My father-in-law passed away last week. The funeral was last week Friday. That's why I wasn't doing the program last week. And I did have a lot of people reaching out to me, especially my fans, and I'm very thankful for that. I was disappointed by some people by persons who I thought I was close with, and I realized that it's not so. And that's something that made me check back on myself and say, well, sometimes the love that you have for others, there's no reciprocity in that.
Okay, yeah.
And when the reality hits you, you realize that it is really so. And there's nothing that they could do to apologize or say after that makes you think differently, because then you realize the true nature of the individuals, especially those who could have done something.
Yeah.
And those are the things, that's when you come to the realization, or that's when you know who is there for you and who is not.
Yeah.
Because there is, the only time a person, I don't need anything from anyone. Absolutely nothing from anyone. I enjoy friendship, and I enjoy my fans, I enjoy people who I converse with, interact with. But there's a time in your life when it's good to see people reaching out to you, and especially when they have the opportunity to be there physically by your side.
Yeah.
Because sometimes a person, you don't need money from them, you don't need groceries, you don't need anything, but you need their physical presence. And when you mess up with the physical presence and you're not there, then you realize the true nature of people.
And then on the bottom line, you get to realize who your friends are.
True.
When it's devastating. But that is the worst time or the worst place to discover.
Yeah, it is the worst feeling in the world when you have lost a loved one, somebody who is very dear to you, and come to the realization that who is supposed to be by your side is not there.
That could hit you for 6.
That hits you.
No.
And I'm not disillusioned. I don't live in a world of falsity. But I did not expect. I really did not expect.
No, in a position like that, you really, it's a big.
But this is not my near and dear friends. This is not the people who are really, really close to me. These are people who I consider, but that consideration has gone.
Yeah,
it's gone.
It's really a big disappointment.
It's gone. It's gone. It's like
no coming back.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Do you?
No, well,
but I think I would be guarded in my interaction from there on.
Okay, well, I would expect something like
because I know the kind of person I am, and I'm the kind of person that call a spade, and I will tell you to your face how I feel.
You don't put water in your mouth.
Well, you know that, because I don't give a crap about it. I tell you as I see it and how I feel. Afterwards, however you want to take it, that's your business.
Yeah.
Entirely your business.
That's the best way to go about it anyway. You express your feelings. It's either you like me or you don't like me. That's the bottom line.
I'm not looking for friends. Today, remember, I tell people, I am on the radio 19 years, going in 20 years. Fine. I come off the radio tomorrow. You think people are going to remember me 5 years from now? No. Those who want to remember you will.
Yeah.
Those who are your true fans will. And those who are just temporary fans will not be.
No, they will go on to something else.
Yeah.
But it's really, really disappointing too.
No, but I think it's a learning experience, because when you know you will go out of your way for someone or a group of individuals, and not one person from that group went out of their way for you,
Yeah.
representing the group.
Yeah.
Like let's say you belong to a club, and you do everything for the club. You're always there. You belong to a church, a temple, or a mosque, and you're always there helping people and whatnot. And something happens to you, a tragedy, and nobody from the church, the temple, or the mosque, or the club shows up, representing the church, the temple, or the club, or the mosque, or the
You will feel the pressure. You must.
You must.
You must feel the
You
pressure.
can't. There's no excuse.
No, because you have built up so much confidence in them, and to see that no one appear.
So that's when you realize the true nature of individuals. So I know that somebody will come and say, "But I'm your number one fan. Yeah, you're my number one fan today. If the shit hit the fan tomorrow, something should happen to me tomorrow, in whatever way, you'll write me off."
As a matter
and
of
I
fact,
know that.
As a matter of fact, some of people put themselves in a position where they wouldn't even mention your name.
No.
They wouldn't even mention.
They wouldn't even mention that they know you or they know of you. And I have seen it happen many times. So I don't get carried away by those things. If I meet somebody and they want to shake my hand or they want an autograph or they want a picture, I do it. It come like one woman took out a picture with me, and she sent it to her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend and said that she and I in a relationship. So I told the boyfriend, I said, okay, if the woman says that I'm in a relationship with her, tell her send another picture with her and I recently to prove the point. But if you meet a fan, you'll take out a picture with them if they ask you to do it.
Well, of course you would. Yeah.
That's what you do. You're just being courteous. But one picture with someone does not mean to say you're in a relationship with that person.
No.
Or ever was in a relationship with that person. But there are stupid individuals out there who will say, well, I see you have a picture with she. I don't have a picture with she. She has a picture with me. There's a difference.
Yes. Yeah, there's a big difference there.
I didn't ask to take out a picture with her.
She asked to take a pic of.
But this is how people behave.
Yeah, but that's the mentality and the ordinary thinking of the average person. I have a question here, but it's so difficult to read because of the printing. Okay, let's see. This one is from Ryan. Ryan says, "Hi, good night, Dr. Raj. I have 2 questions. Can you talk more about what books I could read up on the physiology of Hinduism and you spoke about? And my second question is, what are your thoughts on being a Hindu and sex or refraining from sex during fasting periods?"
Well, I covered that some time ago, and I'll cover it again. There are many books that you see in Sanatan Dharma. There is not one book that deals with our belief system. We have thousands of books. Thousands of books.
Wow.
You have the Upanishads, you have the Vedas, the Puranas, the Sastras. You have the Gita, which is the fifth Purana. You have the Ramayana. You have all the different books on philosophy and whatnot, and you have saints and sages that have come along through thousands of years, and they have written things about themselves and about the belief system and what you embrace. A very good book is the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda. That's a good book to start with. Or Man's Eternal Quest by Yogananda also. It helps you not to only understand philosophy of Hinduism, but also understand you as a man. Man mean mankind, not man mean male.
Yeah.
And so that's what you think. I think if you are a practicing Hindu, you should abide by the rules and regulation when it comes to things of a fasting. Like, for example, you're fasting for Shivratri, you're fasting for Diwali. Like, for example, because we have a death in the family and it's a close family member, we don't celebrate Diwali. Because you're not supposed to celebrate. You're in a time of mourning. For 11 months, you're in a period of mourning. Yes.
Okay.
Because that's the journey of the soul. A true Sanatanist Hindu will know that. So we will not partake of having a puja or doing Diwali celebration. We like the ideas in our home. We could still have a meal, but we would not celebrate.
Okay, yeah.
There's a difference. If there was a wedding, for example, if there was some member of the family who was getting married and whatnot, they will put it off for 11 months until that 11 months pass.
Okay, yeah.
There are things that we would do based on the Garud Puran and based on the religion and the belief. But only a Hindu will understand that. A non-Hindu will not understand that, will not embrace it, and will find that it sounds like simidimi. But a practicing Hindu, and there's Hindus and there's practicing Hindus, and there's Sanatanists and they're devout Sanatanists, but none is better than the other.
Everybody's on the same level field.
Yes, because however, the Pandit was saying that at the cremation, prior to the cremation, before everybody left home, that you don't judge an individual based on how they behave or what they do. Because in Hinduism, there are many paths to moksha, which is salvation.
Okay.
And whatever path that Hindu takes, it's good for him or her. Which is true. You don't have to follow any one doctrine. And that's the philosophy of Hinduism. That's the philosophy. Same thing with sex. It's the philosophy of sex. It depends on what devata you're praying to, what form of the Lord that you see in. And again, one of the questions I ask is the color of the skin of God. In Hinduism, you have God that is red, blue, black, green, pink, yellow. Every color that you can imagine, there's a God of that color. There's a God in that color. There's God that looks like a monkey. There's God that looks like a bear. There's God that looks like a fish. When they talk about evolution and first form of mankind was a fish, God came in the form of a fish at the beginning of time. When they talk about God being in the form of a boar, a pig, God came in the form of a boar. And all the different forms that you talk about, we have God in every different form. We have God looking like a pig. And nobody could tell you or say that it is wrong. Because you cannot prove that it is wrong. But every aspect of God and Godhead that you could think about, we have God who has the head of another animal. First head transplant that is recorded was Lord Ganesh being given the head of an elephant after his head was cut off by his father.
Okay.
That's the first recording of a head transplant.
Very interesting. Yeah, because from time to time I see pigs. And with an elephant.
Well, right. He has the head of an elephant. That's how he got that.
And I always wondered how that came.
Well, that came about because the father cut his head off. There was a war when he was created. The father did not know he existed. Well, of course, did not know in the physical realm, but in the greater sense, he knew that that was his son. And he took his head off. Because he stood up against the army of the father. But I'll tell you another thing. The same thing when you talk with the person who asked about the philosophy of Hinduism. Hindu and Sanatan Dharma has never invaded another country. Has never tried to convert anybody to Hinduism. Never.
Okay.
When the war between Ram and Ravan, Sri Lanka was part of India. It wasn't a separate country as it is now. Today, it's an independent country today. But in that 1,800,000 years ago, that was part of India.
Sri Lanka?
Yeah, that was all part of India.
Okay.
Or if you check the map of India, thousands of years ago, you'll see how much it encompasses. But the philosophy teaches you that. So when it comes to sex now, I practice tantric sex. I am a devotee of Lord Shiva. And I follow everything as a Shivite. But I tell people, my belief is the root. The root of Sanatan Dharma is Shiva. The root of our religion, the root of creation and the world and everything else, the root of sex is Lord Shiva. I don't deal with any branch or leaf or twig or offshoot. I deal with the root. But it doesn't make me better than another person. If a person wants to, and it teaches you that if you want to hold on to the branch and pray to the branch, that's all well and good.
Okay.
But don't try and condemn me for what I believe. That's why that's why I told you in Hinduism there's over 1,000 different ways or sub-culture in Hinduism, but we don't fight one another. You don't. So the sexual side of it is dependent on, that is the question that was asked, and last week I answered that. It's dependent on what you're going to do, who you are fasting for, and the reason that you're fasting there is a prescribed way of doing that, and your guru or your spiritual leader will tell you what you need to do, and you follow that.
Oh, okay.
But if you think, if you in your judgment thinks that I don't really need to give up that totally, you know, I could have sex until maybe the night before, and I will still be prepared mentally and physically. By all means, do it. Face the consequences thereafter of whatever you're doing, because you may not be in the state of mind. Because now, let's say you decide to have sex until the night before you do your ritual for fasting. So let's say you're fasting for Diwali and you're going to have puja. Puja is just a ritual that you do at home. It's like going to church, but you do it at home. But it's prescribed that you fast 7 days before. But you tell yourself, I'm going to fast from meat, I'm going to abstain from meat, I'm going to abstain from alcohol, I'm going to abstain from party, but I'm going to still have sex. No problem in that. But the day you sit down to do puja, and you're thinking, boy, last night I had sex, I wonder if God will vex, boy. You are failure. You are failed. You have broken your fast. Because you know you do something wrong now. And you're wondering if God will vex. If after you do something, you wonder if I do the right thing, boy. Isn't that a form of guilt?
Oh, yes.
There goes.
Off the bat.
That's the answer.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now 24 minutes before 11 o'clock. You are listening to the magic of sex education exclusively on Power 102 FM with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Imaging, the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine. There he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Just to remind you once again, if you would love chatting with Dr. Raj, feel free. You can give us a call at 222-8255-612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a WhatsApp or a text message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 7401961.
You see all these memes. There was a meme recently with two chickens running. And one chicken telling the other, run, no ratam just finished. Now, only a Hindu would understand that. You see that a meme with two chickens running and say, run, no ratam just finished. What does that mean? But only a Hindu will understand that, because there are persons who fast for Noratam, and as soon as Noratam finishes, the next morning they eat meat. And there are persons who will say, okay, I will fast from this period all the way until after Diwali, and after Diwali, 3 days after, I'm going to do the Govardhan Puja, I'm going to do this, I'm going to even fast until Kartik, which is 2 weeks after, and then break my fast. But that does not make you better than me who decide that I'm going to break my fast tomorrow. That is your choice. And you choose to do that. And your choice, you should not feel guilty about your choice. And you should not use that to measure me. Because you can't use that to measure me. You measure yourself by that.
That was your decision.
That is your decision. And that's the beauty of being a Hindu. There are Hindus who eat meat on Diwali. Do you know that? In some parts of India, it's a festival.
I would have never thought that.
But in Trinidad, you see, because we are Ramanandis and because we come from North India and because we come from a certain state, we see Diwali as a different festival. If you came from Sindh province and you are Sindhi, they see Diwali differently. If you come from the northern part of India, the southern part of India, they celebrate Diwali differently. But it's a celebration that all Hindus celebrate. But they celebrate it differently.
Same date, right?
Same day, same date, same time, same reason. But they celebrate it differently. It does not make one better than the other.
Yeah, because I know when you're thinking in terms of celebrating,
a lot of Hindus don't even know that.
They don't, there's no meat, basically.
Well, Hindus in Trinidad follow a particular path in Sanatan Dharma. Because of where we came from.
Well, that would make much more sense. Anyway, folks, we're going to go to the lines. Hello, and thank you for holding. Welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
Dr. Raj, I would just say that people who break their fast or perceive to break their fast, or others perceive that someone broke their fast, right? That there's standing consequences of breaking their fast, right?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of any of the consequences, or could you relate any of the
Well, the consequences is guilt. If you feel guilty about breaking your fast, yeah, but no, listen to what I'm saying. Anyway, if you feel guilty about breaking your fast, isn't that a consequence of it? So you will feel you have done something wrong.
Well, yes, you would, yeah. Okay,
that is all I'm saying. I don't know what the actual consequences are, but the minute you feel bad about doing something, let's see, for example, let's forget fasting. Think about you as a married man or a married woman, seeing an next man and liking him, or seeing an next woman and liking him. Isn't that wrong? But if you pursue it and you enjoy the relationship and you didn't feel guilty about what you're doing, by all means. But the minute you start feeling guilty about it, get out of it, because you're not comfortable in it. That's the consequences of what you have done. That's the consequences I talk about. I'm not talking about God going to punish you in Hinduism. God don't punish nobody. Nobody's ever punished for what they do, because it has accepted that whatever you choose to do, that's your business. You go ahead and do it.
You're punishing yourself.
Take that call.
And we go back to the lines. Thank you for holding, and welcome to Sexplosion.
Namaste.
Namaste, Ositaram.
Take the head of the class, Raj.
Thank you.
Yes, some part of India. I was in India for Diwali, and they kill a cock.
Yeah.
In a family.
Well, yes. I know all the practices, I don't bury my head in the sand and say those things don't exist, But I understand who do it and why they do it.
Yeah, well, I tried to find out why they do it. And when they told me, it was correct. They say they do it for D Baba and the mother earth wealth and whatever,
Yeah, well, I recently talked to a farmer, and I asked him, long time when they kill the goat, they used to collect the blood, and people will cook the blood and the liver together. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I asked a farmer about that recently, and he said he realized that when he started to collect the blood and he didn't let that blood run into the earth, his farm started to die. So in slaughtering, and this has nothing to do with Hinduism. This has to do with what is supposed to be practiced and what is supposed to be done. Now, as he said, whatever deity you take as yours, you do what is the required practices or tradition for that. And as I said, you have all the extreme, you are from the holiest of holy to the, what's the right word to use? Well, I don't want to insult anybody. To the base of the basin. And it's all part of the earth, Just as how we said that they do it for the earth.
Yeah.
That's what they do it for. Nothing else. That blood has to run into the earth. That's what they believe. And who's to tell me they're wrong? Who's going to come and punish them for that? The law might say, well, that is illegal to do that. But other than that, who's going to punish you?
Yes.
It come like if you do a sexual act, whatever it may be, anal intercourse, isn't that against the law? Well, not anymore. But sodomy was against the law just 6 months ago.
Yes.
But if nobody knows, what law you break?
None.
And if you don't feel guilty about it, what wrong have you done?
No wrong.
So, who's going to judge you now?
But
who's the only person who's going to judge you based on the act that you have done?
Well, the only person that could judge you is yourself. Because
well, right.
If you feel guilty...
Well, right. You judge yourself.
If you feel...
You are the one who has to judge you. That's why I tell you, I sleep with a clean conscience every single night. I fall asleep before I lie down, And I boast about that, I fall asleep before my head hit the pillow, because I go to sleep with a clear conscience. I don't study tomorrow problem tonight.
Okay. So
I don't study what I did, whether it was right or wrong, because I do it with a clear conscience.
So when you hit bed, it's straight.
It's asleep.
You don't go to bed thinking, hey, look, well, what...
I don't go judging myself. I don't go judging myself. I am comfortable being me. And who don't like me, that's for you to deal with, not for me to deal with. I don't have to make you like me.
No. Well, yeah, you're correct in that. Anyway, folks, we're going to go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening.
Yes. Yes, hello. I have a different belief. I believe that sex is a form of puja. You could bathe before you have sex. You could do hawan. You could recite some mantra. And then you could have your sex. God created sex.
Don't come off the line. Don't come off the line. I want to engage you.
Yeah.
Why do you believe sex is a form of puja?
Well, if God created sex for a certain purpose.
So you think that if you're doing that, it's holy and clean?
Yeah, it's not for enjoyment alone.
Okay, well, can I tell you something?
Yeah, listening.
Go to the head of the class. That is Tantra. That is the basis of sex. That is the highest form of sex.
Yeah, I believe it's a form of puja.
It is. It's a form of devotion. And there are persons who will teach you mantras to say when you're having sex.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
And again, because of the different levels of individuals. Now, we have a caste system and we have a class system. Well, thankfully, the Hindus that came to Trinidad got rid of the caste system. But in the caste system, people do things differently. So based on the caste that a person came from when they came to Trinidad, their rituals will be different from one person to the other. That is based on your name. But it does not make one right and the other wrong. It does not.
You see, everybody has to respect other people's beliefs.
Correct.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for calling.
So somebody asked the question. Good night. Well, they told me their name. I don't want to call it out. Enjoy your talk show. Just one question. My boyfriend sexted another woman on WhatsApp, and when I found out, said it was a mistake. Is sexual thinking that intermittent? Is sexual thinking that intermittent in relationship? And if so, how does one correct it? You can't stop a person from the way they think. Thinking is, that's the power of the mind. I could stay here and remember that sexy, sweet person I saw in Japan 25 years ago and how she looked. And I wonder if she'll still look in the same way. And that's a sexual thought. You can't stop the brain from doing that.
No.
Isn't that so?
As a matter of fact, you can't.
And I could send a message for someone just looking for a response to see how the person will respond and whatnot, but there's nothing behind it. It all depends on the kind of relationship you have and the boundaries that you set.
Okay.
If the boundaries that you set, he has crossed those boundaries, well, then you have to deal with it and he has to deal with it.
Okay, we're going to go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
Yes, family.
Yeah.
Raj is I again. The guy is correct because sex is Koka Sastra. And in the Koka Sastra have the mantras for social relation.
Yes.
Social
Yes, it is.
And it's true. So you're so correct, you're from the head of the class.
Yeah.
This is why sometimes I tell you take the head of the class. Because you don't talk nonsense.
Well, I tell people if you prove what I'm saying is nonsense or not the truth, okay.
No.
I come off the radio station.
No, you study. You see, you're the person, you studied from birth, right? But I know this because I listen to your conversation. I know your family very well. I know where you come from. Good.
Well, that is the point I was making before. If you don't know where you come from, how the hell you know where you're going? I know my ancestries. I know where I come from. I know the strength of my past. So I know exactly where I'm headed.
That's right. That is why when you tell me you so much, you have covered plenty, and I listen to you, Chatri. I listen to you, and I know when I started to search the corners, because Ramesh Nagesar Singh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right, good. Shanti Nagesar Singh, good. They come and married into Bisha Maharaj. Check it out, go. then look where you come and married now.
Mm-hmm.
Check it. So look at the bloodstream, how it will run.
I know my bloodline.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm very, I know exactly who I am, you know. And that's the difference. A lot of people don't know who they are. Even there are Sanatanist Hindus out there who don't know who they are. Because they don't check back on their bloodline.
No, they don't.
And for us, it is important that you check your bloodline. When my son went and did a DNA test, they tell him that he's 100% Indian, you know.
I'm sorry to cross you.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I heard they say the first place that give Ramila is in the Hindu college, the school, where they give it. No, but it's Sunday Chiquito. Your father would know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, they will know that.
Miss Luke, where the temple is on the little hill.
I know.
Right.
We consecrated a murti there a few years ago.
Right. Okay, good. That is the lady that should give the honor for keeping the Ramila as the first place in Sunday Grande given, which is Sunday Chiquito.
All right, thanks.
Okay, family, thanks a lot for calling. Anyway, folks, taking a return, it's now 9 minutes before 11 o'clock. Sexplosion on this Friday evening with the only sexologist in the Caribbean, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with you. Stay tuned.
Introducing Izzo. News travels fast. In today's fast-paced world, access to accurate, up-to-date information 24/7 is essential to making critical decisions in your life. Izzo is the Caribbean's newest and most innovative news source, giving you a Caribbean perspective on politics, crime, business, sport, entertainment, technology, and special investigative features. Izzo, IZZSO. Izzo, your information source, designed for your lifestyle. Download the Izzo app for iOS and Android devices, and visit our website at www.izzo.com. Izzo. News travels fast. Before you act, think twice.
Think twice.
For a better quality of life.
Power 102 FM
and Boom 94 FM
continue to advocate for and encourage better choices.
From behind the wheel.
For a clean environment.
And now for personal wellness.
Introducing Think Twice Wellness.
Wellness is an active process and centers on becoming aware of and making choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life.
Wellness is more than being free from illness, but more so, it is a dynamic process of traveling on the path to change and growth.
Join us for daily tips on physical wellness,
nutrition,
exercise,
disease and prevention,
emotional and psychological wellness,
happiness, self-care,
stress reduction, mental illness,
symptoms and prevention,
family wellness,
parenting,
relationships,
communication,
family dynamics, abuse,
financial wellness, savings,
budget, retirement, and so much more.
What is that?
Think Twice Wellness.
Think Twice Wellness.
For better quality of life. Brought to you by Power 102.
Boom 94.
In association with the Gillette Group of Companies.
Himalaya. The best care comes from nature.
And Computer and Controls.
Think twice.
Think twice. Be the best version of you. Start your day in the know. Turn on to the Power Breakfast Show. Every weekday morning, 6 to 9 a.m. on Power 102.
Good morning, Steve, morning, Rhoda, morning, Trinidad and Tobago. We were wondering the same thing, Zena. What kind of investigation is taking place prior to an invitation being sent up?
Get updated with the Power Breakfast team.
Of course, it's Mr. Mariano Brown. What would you do for the people in a budget in an election?
I think the best thing that anybody could do in Trinidad is make the money we spend work. If your bucket is leaking, are you carrying water?
Richard Rockabarty, Wendell Stephen, Rhoda Bart, and myself, Steve Kahn.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Power 102. Empowering you.
I want to continue that we do practice what we preach when it comes to sex education right here on Power 102 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj. And for those of you who might be listening to Sexplosion for the very first time, Sexplosion is featured here on Power 102 FM every Thursday and Friday evenings. on a Thursday from 7 p.m. And Dr. Raj is back here with me on a Friday from 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Hi, is there any time in a woman's life when she doesn't want a relationship, and why? There are many reasons to not want a relationship. One of it being abuse. 2, falling in love or out of love with the person. 3, incompatibility sets in. 4, finding something else that you're more interested in, or someone else that you're more interested in. So there are a number of reasons for not that you don't want a relationship, and you will do whatever it takes to pursue something else other than what the relationship that you're in is about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but some people feel very comfortable not being in a relationship.
And they prefer to be out of a relationship and not involved in anything.
No.
That also is a matter of choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you have some people that I know of this person that they were in a relationship here and they have to go over to study. And
long distance relationship, and they say, well, I don't want that.
Yeah, because when you have to dedicate yourself to your studies too as well.
Yeah, and there are reasons that you will want out of the relationship. And by all means, you will do that.
Yeah, so there's many reasons.
So when a person was talking about, that is I think that is one of the things I'm very proud of. And I don't mean abhiman, kind of pride.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of the fact that I spent time with both my grandparents, and I understood exactly where I came from. I understood who I am. I understood the strength of my past, and I understood who I was and where I'm heading. And that's something a lot of people don't embrace. You see, there are many individuals out there who have grandparents, but they have never spoken to their grandparents. They have never asked their grandparents about their past.
Yeah.
And where they came from and what they are about.
No history at all.
So they have no history behind them.
Okay, what we are going to do is go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, that gentleman who called and talk about his sex thing, he don't think it's right or something like that before. The guy that called and talk, he didn't do the sex. It's a spiritual thing now.
No, he said it's a spiritual thing. He didn't say that he don't think it was.
Well, it is a spiritual thing. Why 2 women and 2, 3 men must go together? You see that spiritual need to look of it. Teaching people about sex and teenage drugs and things are different. But you see that 3 and 4 some, get the end of the video with that.
What wrong with that? Well, you see, that is a coward. A coward will come and say things and not defend what they're saying because they can't defend what they're saying. So when you have a coward like that, it shows the nature of the person. It's like when people talk about religion and they say my religion is better than yours, or I am so and so, or I'm a good so and so. But they can't tell you, well, what makes you good? What makes you good? And they can't even explain that. Why talk about sex and not talk about threesome and foursome? What do you think? Threesome and foursome is not spiritual either? Then she does not understand spirituality. It means to say she has a one-track mind that is myopic and that is conditioned by others for she to think that way.
Okay.
So she's forced into a box that she does not belong to, and she feels that if she hold that book in her hand, that is what life is. But that book is not life. That book is a representation of how somebody wants you to think that life is like that. And it's only one book.
Okay, what we are going to do is go back to the lines. Thank you for holding. Welcome to Sexplosion.
Wait, stop. Stop right there. Stop right there. You talk just now, let me talk now. What you're saying, if you think a sex education program or people talking about things of a different sexual nature, you live in a world where you think that only a man and a woman should be together and only 2 of them should have sex and make children. But I'm sure you would have thought about having sex with another man. I'm sure that maybe you even do that. Don't come now. There are persons play holier than thou now But they have done a lot of things in their past, you know. But they want to erase that and push it in a corner and say, oh, no, I never do that. Don't come with them stupidness by me.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now 11 o'clock in Trinidad and Tobago. Sexplosion on Power 102 FM with the guru of sex education, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located at St. Augustine, 222-8255, 612-8255. Give him a call.
But the amazing thing is that she's listening to the program, eh?
Yeah, well, we're going to go back to the lines and see. Hello, thank you for holding. Welcome.
Hi.
I give the caller because I don't know. I never know making love with woman and man. I never know nothing about that.
Well, right, but that's because you're living in ignorance.
Man and woman, not man, woman and man.
But that's because you are living in ignorance. You're not living in reality. That's why. So why the hell you're listening to the program? Go and sleep. If that is what you know, God make it. You know God? You think that the only thing that you know is what somebody teach you and tell you. But you haven't opened your mind to other things that it have out there. You have not opened your mind to that. Because you are myopic. You are in a box. You're taught to, you're like a cattle. They put you in the thing there and you could only go so. You can't turn around, you can't see nothing on the side.
So it's like a horse with
It's like a horse with blinders.
With
That's what it is. So she could agree, but my question is, why are you listening to a program that telling you how to make love to another woman, or two persons could make love of the same sex, or you could have an orgy, and those are the things that people enjoy. Brother, remember that you are in the minority. Eh? Always remember that. Eh?
Yeah, interesting.
You are in the minority, you know, because your own man might be doing something that you condemning, you know.
Yeah. You never know
Your child might be doing something that you condemning, you know.
You never know what happens behind closed doors.
But you don't know. You like they say, make the child, but you don't make the mind. You don't know if your daughter have a lesbian relationship or a bisexual relationship.
Okay, well,
that's like, you know, when somebody has a child that is that engages in same-sex relationship, they condemn the child, and they want to beat gayness out of the child and whatnot. You can't do that.
Okay, we're going to go back to the lines. Hello and welcome.
If I could have put some more prayers on that station, it would have been better for the youth to learn. Sex, make a unnecessary.
So why the hell you're listening to the program? Go and pray. Go and pray.
Okay, we go back to the lines. Hello and
but you know what religion she talking about? You know, only one religion she talking about. You know, put more prayers on your station.
Hi, hello.
Yes, family.
Yeah, family, what's happening? Yeah.
I want to tell that lady, for one it's bad, for two it's good, and many is beautiful. Thank you, my darling.
No, but when she talk about we should have more religion on the program, she only talk about one religion, you know. Because if somebody else come and talk about a different religion, they'll say, why you have that here, you know. Because they feel that this is a certain type of station for certain type of people, you know. That is how they think, you know. They think that this radio station is for certain kind of people and for certain things, you know. And when they talk about religion, they only mean one religion. When she talk about prayer, she only mean one type of prayers. Because the minute somebody come here and start to quote from the Bhagavad Gita or the Quran or whatever, she vex. She vex.
Oh, she, no.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you the truth, you know. That is the person who will say, I'm a good Christian. That is the person who will say that. But you might be more bad than any other human being on this earth. And I love when they say that because it put you down. I have no problem with Christianity. You know, I have a problem with somebody speaking those quotations and feel that you are better than everybody else when you say that word. Doesn't make you better than anybody. It shows the ignorance in you, and it shows how low class you are when you say those words. Seriously, you know, in my book, it shows how low you are. That you are a person following another man's doctrine, and you don't know your past, so you don't know where the hell you're going.
Okay, we'll tell you what we are going to do at 4 minutes after 11 o'clock. It's back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
Don't judge the book by the cover. Put prayers on the radio. Shut your mouth.
What prayers you want? That's exactly what she... But why are you listening? You have a nasty mind. You're a stink, dirty woman. You're listening to sex and you're talking about prayers. So what do you really want? And I make no apologies for saying that. I don't care if management come down. I don't give a damn. Because I'm fed up of these nasty people out there. I am fed up of them. Because they always want to feel they're better than others. You are not. As a matter of fact, I think you are the scum of the earth. You are the scum of the earth. And you have to put yourself up. You have to find elevation for yourself. And you are dependent on somebody to raise you up. You can't raise yourself. That's how low you are. Under the white line.
Okay, we go back to the lines. You are listening to Sexplosion on this Friday evening with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj, and the only one in the Caribbean. Okay, it's back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
Yes, Dr. Raj. So, but all the issues of Trinidad to be able to listen to all the different races, religions.
But I know that. I am here 19 years. I'm not here today.
Yeah, since 19 years ago, I listened to the program as well.
All right. So I know that for a fact.
And it will be 4 o'clock.
Yeah. That started off like that.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, so I all the way.
Beautiful. Okay, family, thanks for calling. And your endorsement.
She listened to
No, but she's listening. The point is that she's listening.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't like something, if I go on a radio station and I hear somebody condemning something or whatever, I switch station or I go to sleep or I take off the radio.
You only have over 30 something of them.
I'm not going to call and say, well, don't talk. Freedom of talk. So she's going to take away my constitutional right to say what I want to say. That's how, that is, I tell you, that is a low class individual. And she will, what I'm saying, she's going to think, you know, because you cannot take away my constitutional right to be here to talk about sex.
Okay, we have another caller on the line. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Good evening.
Once is not you. Once is not you. You see, again, that's the low class nature of the person, because she can't get sex. She home having to listen to the radio, and that's what she's thinking. She don't know if my wife is in the studio. She don't know what's happening. She don't know. She don't even have a husband. She might even have a dog to see about. Good night, Becky here. I have been listening to you since I was in my 20s, and I still do. I'm now in my 40s. You do a very good job, and your program is very educating. Keep up the good work. You see, that's how people, when they can't answer you, they try to attack you. It's something. They attack your family. They attack your friends. They attack your religion. That's low class, sick individuals. My thing is, if you want to engage me, engage me. Don't attack something you don't know about. Don't do that. It just proves the kind of person that you are. That's what it proves. So everybody who recognizes her voice now know that she's a low-class dog. They know that. And they'll be laughing at her. And tomorrow somebody's going to say, well, I hear you on the radio last time. You make a real fool of yourself, you know.
Anyway, folks, taking our time, it's now 8 minutes after 11 o'clock inside Sexplosion, Trinidad and Tobago, #1 nighttime program when it comes to sex education with the guru of sex, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located out at St. Augustine. He treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Just to remind you once again that our lines are open. If you would love to interact with Dr. Raj, 222-8255. You can also call at 612-8255. Okay, we go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
Hi. Why are you fighting on that lady because she's taking the right tonight? You don't need to get vexed.
I am not vexed. You wouldn't like to see me vexed, madam, because she'll get some real French. I don't mix words, you know. Me a vex. No. I just telling she in an affirmative way that she's a low class person. First up.
No, but the thing about it, as I've mentioned before,
But
If
the
you don't
funny,
like-
the funny thing about it is that she getting all the licks, and she know who she is, and she know how she's going to feel, you know. Because she know for a fact that what I'm saying is the truth, and there's a difference.
Yeah, that's
She's condemning a program that other people wants to listen to. If you don't want to listen to it, switch off, go
What
to
is it?
sleep,
Well,
hug up your dog, and go to sleep.
Well, yeah, but it's
Because you
still-
have no man to hug up.
Okay, and with that, we're going to go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Okay. Yeah.
So let's get back on track. So we're talking about these different forms of behavior and things that people want to engage in. Again, if you want to judge someone, just think that if I am judging you, somebody is judging me. And I'm not a perfect human being. Therefore, all the skeletons that you have in your closet and all the things that you may have done and all the thoughts that have gone through your brain, don't think that it is not recorded somewhere. Just as how you have social media, and what you put on social media is there for life. It's not going to go away. There's something in Sanatan Dharma that they teach you about called your Akashic records. That every single thought, every single deed, and every single thing that you have done is recorded.
I tell you, okay, it's back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Hi, good evening.
Just say them people and who fallen and things and sinners and kind of things. And not have no chance at all. And keep up with the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Good evening, my brother. This was one of the best shows for a long time. Forget the Foolish Woman. This is from our good friend. I wouldn't call his name because I don't want to involve him in it. But it's our good friend.
Okay, I know who it is.
Right. So, if persons understand these things, and again, I want to make that very clear. I am comfortable with a person and their religious belief and whatever else. But do not think that you are better than me because of your belief. Do not think that you're better than I am, because I don't think I'm better than anyone because I'm a Sanatanist Hindu or because I'm a sexologist or because I have a doctorate here. I don't ever think that yet. Because I think that if the minute I start thinking like that, I have lost who I am. And that is what persons must understand. So when persons come out and they tell you that they make that statement of superiority, it's like saying, I am white, so I'm better than you black people. That's wrong. That's wrong. Because somebody will condemn that. The same way you'll condemn slavery, you can't come up and say, well, because of my belief that was forced upon me, I am better than you.
Okay, we're going to go back to the lines. Thank you for holding and welcome to Sexplosion.
Family, good evening.
Hey family, how are you going?
I'm good. Good evening, Dr. Raj.
Good evening. Haven't heard this voice in a long time.
I know, but from time to time I will message you and all of that.
Yes, I know that.
Right? But let me say something, right? I am a Christian person, but I am open to knowledge, right? I may not subscribe to what Dr. Raj is talking about all the time. I may not agree, but does it give me the right to come out and condemn what he's saying? If I am comfortable in my skin and what I believe, then I can't force it down anybody else's throat. Whatever. Remember, we are a multi-religious society, you know, right? And
That's what people fail to realize.
tolerance to others.
Well, they don't even follow the watchword of the country.
Right. Not because something is in front of me and it's green, and I'm seeing it green. You could be seeing it from a different angle. The way in which you stand, it might appear to be red to you, right? But it doesn't mean to say that both of us are wrong.
Correct.
It may just mean that because of the angle you're standing, it may seem to you to be a different hue of a color.
Or how the sun reflects off it.
That's right. So, I mean, come on, people, let us encourage tolerance. Doesn't mean to say that because you don't follow something or you don't subscribe to it, that you must condemn another person. Remember, this person is a human being just like yourself, right? So, good job, and you know, Raj, I've been listening from inception.
I know that.
Cream in your jeans and all that. So, continue when I'm listening in.
Thank you.
Okay, family, thanks for calling.
So, that is where the problem comes in with sexuality and sexual behavior. When you measure people by your yardstick, when you think that you are holier than thou or better than other individuals simply because you choose not to do something or you condemning something else. And this is where the ignorance and intolerance comes in when it comes to, let's say, a family member who you realize may be effeminate, or you realize that she is a tomboy and more attracted to women and whatnot, and you chastise that person and you want that person out of your life and you condemn him in the worst sort of way, but you don't even realize that you're hurting the person because that person may be your child and that person may be a close family member, but simply because of their behavior or preference, you see them as less than a human being. That is where the problem lies. And that's what society have to start. I'm not saying that you need to say, well, or encourage it, but you have to be understanding of it and say, here what? If that's what you choose in life, that's how you choose to live your life. By all means, what makes you happy makes you happy. It doesn't make me happy, but you don't need to make me happy. You have to make yourself happy. I didn't come here to make you happy, You know your child didn't come here to make you happy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
If you are dependent on someone to make you happy, now there are people who can bring joy into your life. There are people who can uplift you in a particular way. There are people who can teach you. There are individuals who can add to your joy. But if you're not a joyous person, how could I add to your joy?
Of course not, you cannot be. No.
If you're not a comfortable person in your skin, in your looks and whatnot, how could I make you comfortable?
No, you can't. No.
So you must have that within you. So we add to each other, we support one another, and there are some persons who would like to take away your happiness and take away your joy. But if that could only be done if you allow them to.
Yeah. Like they always say, don't let someone come in and take away your joy. That's a true saying, right? Anyway, folks, taking over time, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. You are on the inside of Sexplosion on this Friday evening with the guru of sex, Dr. Raj of Total Imaging, the Adult Therapy Center, which is located on the St. Augustine. There he treats all sexual dysfunctions in both male and female. Don't forget, our lines are open if you would love chatting with him. 222-8255, also at 612-8255. If you do decide that you want to send him a private message or a text message, you can also do that on his private mobile at 740-1961. You're listening to a program that deals with sex, love, and relationships. This program may contain material that is not suitable for children. Parental guidance are therefore advised. Yeah.
So someone asked the question, how does the full moon affect your behavior? The moon affects your behavior in many different ways. So much so that in all culture, all religion, all belief system, it is understood that the moon affects you. That's why you have the terminology lunatic. Lunatic means you are affected by the moon.
Is it full moon tonight?
Well, that's what somebody asked. It could be, I don't know. But the moon does affect your mood, it affects your behavior, it affects the way you see things.
It's amazing though.
Well, why is it amazing?
No, because the average person, and but I know people who have belief and who know about it, but the average person, the average John, he would never think about the moon. You know what he would think? Boy, the moon is full, I could catch crab on the beach.
Well, why is it that the moon is full and I could catch crab on the beach? Doesn't the moon affect the movement of the crab?
Well, I would, yeah.
And if the moon could affect the movement of the crab, which is low on the food chain, why can it affect the fish in the sea? And it does affect the fish in the sea.
Well, yes, I know
And why can't it affect the animal in the bush? It does affect the animal in the bush. And why can't it affect the horse on the farm? It does affect the horse on the farm. And why can't it affect the trees in the forest? It does affect the tree in the forest. And why can't it affect the tides in the sea? It does affect the tide in the sea. So why it wouldn't affect human beings? And we are the highest level of intelligence. We're the highest form of animals. So it does affect us also. We may think, you see, man like to think they're isolated and nothing affects us. We like to think that we're so great that not even God could affect us. There are some persons who believe that they're greater than God and God can affect you, that there's no God and God can't do you anything. But God really don't do you anything. But the power of the Lord, or the power of prayer and the power of spirituality does affect you.
Yeah.
And the power of not believing and the power of not seeing and not knowing those things also affect you, but you don't know. It's the same thing with the moon. The moon affects you. But you don't know because you're ignorant of the fact. And if you're ignorant of something, you just don't know. But it doesn't mean to say it's not happening. Just as how this earth is spinning right now. And right now it's dark because it's night in Trinidad. There's light in another part of the world. For example, Moscow, it's 6:20 in the morning. Beijing, it's 11:20 in the day. India, it's what? 8:51 in the morning. There are people who are waking up and there are people who are going to sleep. Just as it's 11:21 now, it's 8:21 in California, which is still light. Does that make our reality better than the reality there? Does that mean to say that it's total darkness around the world? No.
No.
We are seeing the moon here. We say the moon come up and the moon going down tomorrow. The moon don't come up and go down. The moon is one place.
No. We're moving.
We're moving.
Yeah.
The moon is a satellite of the earth. But the earth is spinning.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who don't even understand that. They don't understand that.
They think the moon is moving.
They think the moon is moving and the sun is moving and whatnot.
Yeah.
They don't know it's the other way around. And those are the same people who believe the world is still flat. And if you go to the edge of the ocean, you'll fall off.
You'll fall off. Yeah, but if you fall off, where are you ending up?
I don't know, boy. Maybe you're falling into eternity.
Maybe there's a possibility, all right. Anyway, folks, taking our time, 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. Sexplosion on Power 2 FM every Thursday and Friday evenings, right here with the Guru of Sex Education. 222-8255, 612-8255. Nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education.
You know, there was no time in Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism that anybody ever believed the earth was flat. We always knew it was wrong.
Always. From the beginning of time?
From the beginning of time. From time immemorial, the Sanatanists, Hindus of this earth, knew the earth was wrong. We never believed it was flat. We knew what gravity was. We knew all those things. It's only now scientists are discovering that the things that they feel that they have discovered, we knew it all along.
So why people would have thought that the earth was flat?
Because that was their belief.
But someone had to bring that to the forefront.
Well, right, because all they could have seen is up to the horizon and everything looked flat.
And
if you stand up on the seashore and you watch out, what do you see? The end of the water, right?
You see the water. You see the sky meeting the water.
Well, right. So it's flat.
Okay, from that angle.
So in their mind, it's flat.
Okay.
In Sanatan Dharma, I never taught you that.
Oh,
that's why when Lord Krishna was eating the dirt and his mother opened his mouth, she saw the earth spinning in his mouth.
Oh.
And that has been our teaching since time immemorial. So that's why I tell you, there was no time we ever propagated the fact that the earth was flat.
Interesting.
Somebody said full moon is Sunday, so
Sunday.
It's very close.
Yeah.
The moon will affect you.
Yeah. Well, I see it have some effects already.
Thank you very much for that information. But there are hunters and fishermen and crab catchers and persons who and planters and agronomists and agriculturists and who depend on the phases of the moon. That's why you have the what almanac they call it, the farmer's almanac. People go by that.
Yeah.
When to plant, when to reap. Yes.
People like that here. They plant certain.
But of course, and that in our book, we call it the patra. That has to do with the human body. That has to do with the behavior of human beings. Based on it. Do you remember I was talking last week or sometime, not last week, 2 weeks ago, about persons who are born under certain signs feel that they're better than other signs?
Well, yeah. Well, yes,
That is a form of discrimination. That is a form of discrimination, that you feel you're born under Virgo, so you're better than somebody who's born under the sign of Libra.
Yeah. You have some people like that.
But it have people like that.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah. That's why when you ask me what sign I'm born under, I'll tell you the worst. That's the first answer that comes out of my mouth. I'm born under the worst sign.
And they have some people, as a matter of fact, that if you're in a relationship, they would have certain people that they would go out with.
Yeah.
That born in certain months.
Yeah. Because that's discrimination. It's just as bad as racial discrimination. But they will never see it that way. Because they think, because they're born under a certain sign, that I am better than others.
Yeah. I know.
And I've heard people say that already.
I know a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people.
But that is a form of discrimination, and if they stop to think of what I'm saying, they will realize that what I'm saying is the truth. You cannot tell me because you're born under the sign of Capricorn that you're better than a person who's born under the sign of Aries.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, there are people that I know a lot of people think.
But I come across that all the time.
There are some people that when they get into a relationship, they don't even ask your name. The first thing
where's your sign?
What's
your sign?
That is the first thing.
Is it compatible to mine?
Yeah. So
remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway, folks, taking over time, 27 minutes after 11 o'clock. Sexplosion on Power 102 FM. Sexologist Dr. Raj of Total Imaging, the Adult Therapy Center. Just to remind you once again that our lines are open. If you would love chatting with Dr. Raj, feel free. 222-8255, 612-8255. You can also send in your messages on our website at Power 102 FM. Yeah.
But the planet under which you are born affects you. It affects your behavior. But remember, every second under the planet under which you're born gives a different personality. Yeah. Every second.
Every second.
Every second.
Wow.
And the only place there is time is on Earth. Nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
There's no time out there. There's no time in any other planet. There's only time on Earth.
So once we go through,
because we have a clock that is based on the rotation of the Earth and the circumference that it goes around the moon. The sun. That's how our time is based. But no other planet is in the same trajectory as us. So how could they have time?
So like the old people would say, when you're dead, you're done.
When you're dead, time ends for you.
It ends, yeah.
Time on Earth ends for you. That doesn't mean to say you end.
But with your belief, and I know you're heavy into the religion, you do a lot of reading. When a person passes away, do their spirit go to another place, a complete other place?
Of course. Of course it does. Every religion teaches you that. So it's just that in Christianity they tell you go to heaven or hell or purgatory for judgment. Isn't that so?
Yes, they would say. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And in Hinduism they tell you, well, you have an 11-month travel between your death time here and reaching moksha or reaching that super soul. And then from there you could choose to come back here or go to different loks.
Is that right?
Of course. You have a choice.
So you have a choice of coming back? You have a choice of coming back? Now, see,
yeah, you do. No, somebody tell me that they would love a nice Mukesh. I would love to hear Mukesh anytime. You don't, a friend of mine told me once, he said, when you hear Mukesh singing, it's like somebody take a knife and stick it into his gut and turn it very slowly. That's the power of his voice.
Wow.
And happy birthday to you, my friend. You said that your birthday will be in a few minutes, 31 minutes from now. So, happy birthday. I wish you all the best.
You wish you all the best.
Yeah.
So that had to be someone special.
Yeah, a good friend of mine.
Oh, good, beautiful.
He's a wonderful singer. And he knows I love Mukesh.
Okay, Mukesh. But Mukesh is a form of...
No, Mukesh is a singer out of India who died in 1976 at the age of 42. And his voice still lives on.
Yeah.
Of course.
42.
Mukesh Chandamatu.
42, almost my age.
Yeah. So when you reach 42, watch out, eh? It's possible that you may die.
It is possible. It is possible. Anyway, folks, taking over time.
You know, Mukesh had a famous saying, and I wonder if he knows this. Vijay, do you know this? Mukesh say, never a drink before sunset and never miss one after. Never drink alcohol before sunset.
Before sunset, okay.
But never miss one after. That was one of his famous sayings. I'm sure he didn't know that.
Wow.
He used to always take a drink of brandy after sunset.
After sunset?
Yep.
Well, brandy, if you tell a Trinidad, he goes say rum.
Well, rum is brandy.
Yeah, but not that strength, you know. A brandy is a little lighter.
Huh? And when Mukesh died, there was a famous Indian actor called Raj Kapoor. You know what was the words that came out of his mouth? I've lost my voice. Do you know why? In Indian filmy songs, the songs that were sung for him in his movies was Mukesh. And the first thing he said is, I've lost my voice. Not in a literal form, but the fact that Mukesh has died. I could tell you history about Mukesh that people don't even know, you know. You see, when I love something, I love it deeply.
Really?
I go in depth into whatever I like and love.
And you apply yourself 100%, of course.
Of course. And I like trivia. I love trivia. I love trivia. Trivial information about things is what I embrace because it teaches you a lot more than some things that people consider to be fact.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
So he sent a wonderful song here called Gam Ke Badali.
We're getting a funny song here.
Yeah, that's a phone ringing that we're picking it up, but it's not my phone because none of my phone is ringing.
Anyway, folks, taking over time, 28 minutes before 12 o'clock. Sexplosion on Power 102 FM. Now, for those of you who are listening to Sexplosion for the very first time, just to remind you that Sexplosion is featured here on Power 102 FM every Thursday and Friday evening. On a Thursday from 7 p.m. and Dr. Raj returns on a Friday evening at 9. No, but it is better what we do best when it comes to sex education, taking it where it has never been before. Yeah.
Hi Raj, this is Nizam. My girlfriend and I want to get married, but she wants me to stay in her place. And I have a problem with that. We talk about it, but only leads to argument. How should I deal with it? Well, it depends on where is her place. I know in Hindu culture, you don't live by your in-laws. You don't go living by your... a man don't go living by his in-law. That's Hindu culture.
Okay.
That's forbidden. That's a no-no.
I never thought that
No, that's a no-no. That's a serious no-no.
Yeah?
What? No, we have people who do it and they don't even realize the consequences of it.
Yeah.
But that's a no-no.
No, but once you're okay.
No. A practicing Hindu will never do that. No, you don't go live by your mother-in-law and father-in-law. No. There are certain things in the practice of Sanatan Dharma that is very logical. You see, we have something called Kanyadan. When the parents hand that woman over to you, there's a significance to that. There are things that she cannot do anymore for her parents. The man takes that role.
Oh, I'm not going to ask.
But
So
there are
that's-
things that he cannot do for her parents either. Like, for example, when my father-in-law died last week, I couldn't partake in anything. That's not my role. My role was something different. You have to know your role. You have to know where you stand. But that has to do with the culture. So you need to talk to her about it, and you need to find out what is her culture and her belief. If she lives on her own and she wants you to move in into her home, that's something that is different. You may not want to because of ego, or the picong that you might get that you want to live with your wife and excuse me, she might be the breadwinner or whatever. That's something different. Or if you're talking about culture, tradition, and religion, it's something different.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Well, I can tell you that nobody does better what we do best when it comes to sex education on Power 102 FM with the guru of sex, Dr. Raj Ramnanan of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center, which is located out at St. Augustine. Now, I came to ask, how is the stores, what is the feedback?
I must say that the feedback is very good. We are expanding within the store. I see more clients in each area, Debe and Princestown. We are building up a really nice clientele there. We're offering more at the stores now, massages and whatnot. So things are building. We have the area with the penis pump and all the instructions and all those things, what we call the penis enhancement area. So there are lots more that is happening. And I must say that I am, well, of course, where you open a store is dependent on the culture of the people and whatnot. Right now, because it's a fasting time for people in the Debe Penal area, especially because you have a large majority of Hindus, the business is not as busy as it would be in Princestown or other areas. But we understand that. You have to understand the culture of the place also.
Yeah.
And the fasting period for Hindus now is about 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
So the girls in South missing me or what?
Of course, they always ask for you, but they say, is Mama guide them. You don't come and spend some time with them, take them for lunch. Or
well, my sense of direction as far as we are driving. So, but you must tell them my son to say hi,
I always do. I always do. Some of them are listening right now, so you can say hello to them.
Oh yes, darling, I love you all. Yeah. I met one the other day, very pleasant lady. Yeah.
I wouldn't ask you where, because I might be letting out your secret. You may not want people to know where.
Anyway, I tell you. Yeah. No, I tell you. Yeah. We leave it like that.
You tell me what?
Yeah. Now, I met a nice young lady. I met a nice young lady at as a matter of fact, I walked into Total Image and I met a nice
you did?
Yeah. I just got introduced to her. Haven't really sit down and interact with her yet, But
maybe the next time you see her?
Yes. So if you're listening, family, the love is here. Anyway, folks, taking our time 22 minutes before 12 o'clock, and I tell you what a program tonight. Sexplosion on Power 102 FM. Sexplosion with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj Ramnanan of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Yeah. I hear you singing the team song. I hear you singing the team song.
No, I'm humming something. Yeah. But I enjoy music. I enjoy all type of music. And that's, again, when you're in a sexual situation, that's why people, they use things to stimulate the 5 senses. But you have to use the right things to stimulate you. If you're in a moment of melancholy and you sit back and you're enjoying the afternoon sunset and you're by the seaside and you have a nice song playing, it makes you enjoy it more. Isn't that so?
Yeah. Well,
that's why sometimes when you're driving, like I tell you, this is the God honest truth, I enjoy listening to Sammy on a Tuesday when I'm heading to Princestown and Debe.
Yeah.
Right? Because he plays the right music. I enjoy some other DJ on a Saturday. I used to enjoy Chris on a Saturday. Chris was the most fantastic DJ on a Saturday. I miss him. I miss his selection. I miss the way he played his music on a Saturday. I really miss that. Right? Sometime on an afternoon when I'm driving back or evening, I listen to you. Sunday evening or whatnot. But it depends on what you're doing, time, place, and consequence.
Yeah, that plays an important.
That's what music does. That's what chocolate does. That's what, if you're ever feeling depressed and you want a comfort food, chocolate is a great comfort food. And you don't have to eat milk chocolate so that you have to worry about putting on weight. There's dark chocolate. If you enjoy the taste of chocolate and you're a true chocolate connoisseur, dark chocolate is the way to go. But not everyone could stomach dark chocolate.
No, you have to have a little milk in it.
And I love dark chocolate.
Kind of lighten it up a little
I
bit.
love dark chocolate.
Not with 2 legs.
All dark chocolate.
You answer. Okay, yeah.
If I what?
You answer that real fast.
But it's a fact.
Yeah. I like chocolate too. But I have a little milk. A little milky.
McDonald's almanac. That is it.
What's that?
I remember we used to sell a lot of that. McDonald's almanac. The farmer's almanac.
Uh-huh.
But it's called a McDonald's farmer's almanac because that was farmers written there.
Okay.
McDonald's almanac, yes. I mean, we used to sell that at our business place, and that, I mean, we in the area that we were in the Sagna Grande, and you talk about Beach, Charuma, Plumita, Vega de Oropuch, all these areas that is farmland. So people used to want those things.
Okay.
If it's not rice, it's citrus, cocoa, coffee, marijuana.
The whole works.
The whole works. That's what those areas are known for.
Beautiful.
That's why I tell you, I like farming. I had the best of both worlds, when I was growing up. We had cocoa estate, and of course in the cocoa estate you had fruit trees, you had a lot of different exotic fruit, primrose and kaimit and kashima and mangoes and all the citrus. In between you'll have coffee, you'll have cocoa. Right?
If you no longer hear that.
Right? So you grew up on that. And then I also grew up with my grandparents in Yokal, where they'll plant edos, sugarcane, rice, sweet potato, okra, peppers. And they had different fruits there. They had jamun, they had lily.
Lily is the long...
No, lily is a little red that ties, they call it titong.
But the thing about it, you know, you don't see like gree.
No, well, if you go to the countryside, you get it.
countryside
As a matter of fact, I was talking to one of my friends today, and he's doing a farm where he have all these exotic fruit trees, what they call exotic fruit trees now, which was old trees from a long time, planted on his farm.
Yeah. I remember the Ricing Road. When you pass Ricing Road long time, it was only dongs.
Yeah, dongs. You can't see a dongs again.
No.
As a matter of fact, if you go down to Carnage, before Carnage, that area, how it's called,
Boxite?
Hocketa. You were to go up, not La Hocketa, Hocketa.
Yeah,
up the hill.
yes.
On the left there's dung trees there.
Yeah, you don't see...
But if you know those things, if you know those plants, and I remember going to Tobago recently, well, a few years ago, and seeing a dung tree and going and pick and have.
You know, long ago, we used to have so much fun because there was so much fruit trees, but like they cut all, like, for instance, one of my favorite.
Padu.
Guava.
Oh yeah, you don't see guava.
You don't see guava trees again?
No, you don't see that.
And we used to have
guava, every yard had a guava tree.
We used to have so much guava trees.
The yellow cherry, the series,
the white one.
The white guava, the pink one.
Well, the white one used to have only ones, so you used to break some down.
You used to wait for it to get worse?
No, but...
They're very green.
You know, in the alley there and Chenet, well, I never...
Chenet, yeah.
I had a problem with that because...
Everybody was afraid that they swallow it.
With it slipping.
Yeah. But I used to eat plenty Chenet. And I ate every fruit that it had because I love fruits. I grew up with fruits. And I was fortunate to grow up in two different areas and enjoy the best of both worlds.
Yeah, but just to say that you don't see all these fruit trees that we grew up with.
You ever eat jamun until you get drunk? And they sleep under the jamun tree?
Those days.
The real ripe jamun will get you drunk like that, you know.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, but those were good days. Well, we grew up in a good time.
We did. There are lots of trees that people don't know of. That's why I tell you, there are things that we need to embrace. We need to get back into learning about these things and understanding the value of it. Because there will come a time when these things may not exist at all.
Well, as a matter of fact, it's happening already.
Well, I think there are some of us out there who still want to propagate those things and have it wrong, and you appreciate it. You know, last week, although my father-in-law died, one of my cousins died, and I went to the funeral, and there was a guy there who was reminded me about the Paru tree and all those things. He said, no, the Paru cut down, and Paru is such a nice thing. I mean, you have to have some patience to eat it, but I like it, I love it.
5 fingers.
Carambola.
They have so much. There was one, a brown one used to squeeze.
Series.
Not series. But you don't see those fruit trees again anymore. And you rightfully said that, you know, if you visit the countryside, you would more or less see
places
them in
you
the
can still
countryside.
get those things.
But
And
whereas in Port of Spain, we used to have a lot of those. You don't.
Recently, there was a flowers we used to call bread and cheese. It's a yellow flowers that are red inside. A flowers you could actually eat. A flower that you can actually eat. We used to call it bread and cheese. And my friend, who has a large estate, brought a photograph of it. He said, Raj, look what I ate yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, bread and cheese.
You don't see that, you don't, not in town again.
Well, now you won't see those things again. But
they cut down town to make all them buildings.
Thank God when I go to I go to visit these places and things, I still have it. I will go and look for it. I will go and pick it. I will go and cut it. I will go and Chinese tamarind, regular tamarind.
Well, you see, I mean, you travel a lot in Trinidad here, in the sense that.
Oh, I make it a point. I know I make it a point.
You go to countryside and things, and you would more or less see these things on countryside, things that you would never.
But you know, sometimes you're driving through countryside and you see people selling these things on the side of the road. I implore people to stop and buy, you know. For you're doing 2 things. You're partaking in something that is dying, that would not be around maybe next 10 years. So you might see somebody selling paru. Stop and buy some. Give it to your children. See if they like it. They wouldn't like it because they say they're accustomed to apple and grapes and whatnot. So they wouldn't like it.
They say old people thing.
Correct. But I can't see how fruits could be for old people and whatnot. I can't see that. And some people feel they're more sophisticated if they eat an apple and grapes or pear as opposed to sucking an orange. It has sophistication for it.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, if that's how you think, fine. But you're also helping with the economy of that area because you're spending money in the area and you're giving somebody at least some money that they could spend on something that they need. It might be shoes for the child to go to school.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of sometimes women selling things on the side of the road like breadfruit and whatnot. I stop and buy. I make no apologies for it, and I'm not ashamed to say I stop and buy. Because I know they're doing that not to go and buy drugs, but it may be drugs for their child that is sick. But they're not going to buy weed and marijuana or cocaine or something for their habit. Right? As opposed to the man who's stealing a cabatry and going and sell it to feed his habit. So it helps with the economy, it helps with people, and it gives you an opportunity to interact with something that's. I remember recently I was driving through Vancouver and I saw something being sold on the side of the road. And my father was with me, my mother was with me, and my wife. And we reached a little distance and I stopped the car and I turned around. They said, what you turn around for? I said, I see something, I'm going to buy. And when we went back to my father, my father loves fruits and remember he grew up in that. So he came out of the car and he was like he started to behave like a child.
Well, especially.
And I the beauty of watching my father behave like a child. It was like he was so excited that he's seen this thing and he asked the lady, where you get this? And I said, look at that. You should see the joy in my father's face.
Well, you see, the thing about it is when you go to the countryside, you see you have to go to the countryside to see these little stands, and especially, I remember long ago when we going up to Miaro, and you have these people selling watermelon all through Mansell, you know.
Oh yeah, you buy watermelon, they cut it right there, and you eat a piece of watermelon on the side of the road.
Yeah.
How many people don't experience that?
No, you wouldn't get that.
Eating a piece of watermelon on the side of the road and dust blowing and Yeah. But it's different. It's something. Some person might say, "Oh, Gee, you could do that, but you wash it properly."
No, that's
but how would you build up the resistance to certain type of bacteria if you've never done that?
Yeah, I remember those days so good, man.
Is it normal to get an erection just by talking to a woman who you meet for the first time? Yes, that is very normal.
Okay, I want to go back to the lines. Hello, and okay, that person left us. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to eat that. That's a nice fruit. Izzy showed me fruits.
Oh gosh, well I could imagine what easy fruit look like. I could just imagine. You don't have to explain.
Uh-huh.
The minute you say you can eat that
yeah.
food, I know exactly.
Right. See where you think it?
Easy. Like Sunday morning.
So I was reading about the exploit of Virat Kohli, who scored 254 runs, not out, and did not go on to make his 300 because he just wanted to destroy South Africa. That's a captain, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't bother about going on to his 300 runs.
No.
And he could have made it very easily because batting was nothing for him on that.
That's dedication. I tell you.
So those are the things I enjoy. So I had my good friend Vijay tell me about Mukesh tonight. We talk about fruits, we talk about chocolate, we talk about cocoa, which I love. We talk a bit about cricket. We talk about TKR, which I'm still a follower of TKR.
Yeah.
Nobody could change that.
No.
That I am
It's just to say that
a fan.
it's just
I'm disappointed,
Yeah,
like
but-
anybody else and everything else, but it doesn't change the way I feel about the team.
Yeah, but look on the brighter side. You only have to wait 365 days again.
Which will pass very quickly.
Which is so fast. Yeah.
No, you don't have to wait that long. You know.
No, they have one before.
The majority of those guys are going on to play for other teams, and you will see them play.
No, I'm speaking in terms of
The team, no, but you'll see the guys playing. They'll play
No,
for
they'll see them
Trinidad.
play,
They'll play for
Yeah.
other teams all over the world. So you'll still see them in
Well,
action.
It was a little bit, but as you rightfully said, you know, a lot of people got their tickets for that quarterfinal, that semi-finals and finals already.
Yeah.
But I think personally, even though we are not in the finals, we should go and support.
Of course, you're supporting cricket.
I mean, it's cricket, yeah.
That's what
You
you're
know,
supporting.
You know, it's tough to know.
You
that
might have
we
a team that you like one more than the other, and by
Yeah.
all means do that.
And the thing about it, you have a lot of variation of West Indians playing. It's not to say you have a Trinidadian playing for Guyana, or you have one Trini. But anyhow, what we are going to do is go back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion.
The doctor was talking about the brown that is kindness.
No, we mentioned Kaimet. I wasn't talking about the brown food. Junior was talking about the food that you squeeze, which we used to call that cerise. Yeah. That's the one that you squeeze to soften to eat it.
Alright.
So he was making the motion, and when I told him cerise, he said no, but I left
I know
it
the
there.
name of it now.
What?
Tamra Dezan.
Tamra Dezan?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yes, call on you on the line?
Yeah, I was saying the radio.
What is tamarind Dezan?
You remember tamarind Dezan?
You're talking about Chinese tamarind?
No, a brown.
Well, yeah, like Chinese
squeeze.
tamarind. It's round.
Yeah.
That's Chinese tamarind.
Well, we know it as tamarind Dezan.
Well, I don't know
That
by
was
that
the
name. I know
name
by
of it.
Chinese tamarind, you squeeze it and make it soft and then eat it. That's Chinese tamarind.
Okay. But I have.
You have a different name.
I have a Chinese.
You,
I should
hey,
know that.
you from Guyana, you have a different name for everything.
Thanks a lot, family. Okay, sir. Okay. Yeah, tamarind. That was our strike.
Oh, well, yeah, like Chinese tamarind.
Chinese tamarind.
Yeah, it's small round
Yeah,
like that. And
brown.
brown. The series is purple in color. That you squeeze and get it
And
soft.
get this, yeah. So you see, you have to be careful in sex now. You squeeze and get it soft. I wanted that.
You know, I came across this lady who put exotic fruit together with chocolate, and that chocolate is.
Exotic fruit. Exotic fruits.
We don't talk about chocolate here because I'm a chocoholic. You know. I love chocolate.
Yeah,
No, I love chocolate.
I do.
I tell you, anywhere I travel in the world, I buy chocolate.
I do.
I have collections of chocolate. Sometimes it goes bad because I collect it. So
Yeah.
I keep the label and sometimes I keep the thing, but chocolate disintegrates, which is a food item. But Trinidad chocolate is fantastic.
Okay, well, we are going back to the lines. Hello and welcome to Sexplosion. Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much. Well, if you're here every day, I better come off the air.
Where I grew up near the sea.
Uh-huh.
Right in I did 4 to 20 fruits. Right, my fruits were mangoes, grapples, soursop. And
Soursop.
one called mapu.
Call what?
Mapu.
Mako.
Mapu.
I don't know what Mako is.
No.
A little thing, if you give them something you call it just now, that will make wine and thing with.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Is it sea grapes?
No, I know what's grapefruit.
Uh-huh.
But my thing was more different kinds of fish. And whales like prawns.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, yeah, well, that I love. I love seafood.
Yeah, but something is bigger than called mackerel.
Mackerel?
Yeah,
Don't think it exclusive to Tobago, you know. You get plenty of that in Togo too, you know. We used to go Matlat and dig that off the rock.
What it is?
Pacro?
Bacro.
Pacro.
Pacro. Oh.
Pacro water, boy.
I thought he said Marco. No, I was going to say, I thought they come in big because we have one next door.
Nah, Pacro. Love Pacro water.
We had a beautiful long back. And I see that road.
Pacro.
Yes. And comes.
Oh, yeah.
Walking in the grass and pick up that small one.
The black conch, the black conchs or the sea conchs? But if you say grass, it has to be
No, that's canal conch.
canal conchs.
No, it's not canal conch.
What kind of conchs?
Yeah.
Yes, sea conchs, yeah.
Yeah, you want the shell with shell where you already pick the group.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right, and that one is called whales.
Yeah, I know the milk.
Right. I grew up in lobster and stuff like that.
Well, there are certain places in Trinidad you go and you still get those things, eh?
Yes, it's rose, smack. So there's money you put up and pick up branch or put it up on the sun. And a little fish just jump in there, scramble them and put them on a jump cover.
Uh-huh. And roast it. Yeah. I like roast fish. I like it. Seafood roasted is different. Yeah. It is. You just get a sweeter taste. Yeah. And I remember like. But I remember going to different countries too, and like certain seafood, you eat it raw. They just squeeze lime on it, and that's it. I know about that.
Okay, family, thanks a lot. We got to run off. That's a good conversation. You see, the man knows his stuff, eh? That's great.
So, we have reached the end of our program for tonight. I must thank you very much for those of you who stayed on, and the two ladies who were objecting to the program. I know they're still on, because they can't do it without the program. As a matter of fact, some of them might be playing with themselves, because that's the only entertainment they'll get in their life. So we're happy to give you that entertainment.
Oh, yes, we do.
Could you imagine how two of them rinsing and eating up themselves?
Yeah, just to remind you, ladies, that you can check us out again on Thursday.
Yes.
So,
barring all things being equal,
yes,
well, definitely on Friday. So, with that, folks, pleasant good night to everyone until we are back again.
You have been listening to Sexplosion on Power 2.1 FM with the only sexologist, Dr. Raj of Total Image and the Adult Therapy Center. Well, here's where I make my exit as well. Folks, don't forget, driving is a privilege. If you're good to it, it's going to be good to you. Don't drink and drive. So until next time, I'm Junior Sagana, family. Take care of yourself and each other. Do have yourselves a beautiful day tomorrow. As always, love you.